microphone so we won't have a feedback. And cool, we got green instead of orange. Orange! And already
people started, somebody posted about how Jordan Peele's the next best thing in horror and how original he is. And I was like, Get Out is it's Stepford Wives meets Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah, I saw a meme where people are already posting that picture of him sweating, being like, when people realize,
Twilight Zone episodes,
exactly. Okay, so I should probably post around that we're live now. So let me do that while everyone filters in. Hello, everyone.
We're live.
So we're live, son.
I just told that little anecdote.
That was a fantastic way to kick off the whole thing, man. Way to go.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Originality in horror
live right now, discussing how we
typing while. Oh shit! We got what's up, Savini, Jason, Teddy, Blanca, Chop Block. Oh, Chop Block's here.
What up,
Dino?
What up, Dino?
Jerks Productions.
All right, here we go.
Hail.
That's Brandon. What's up, Brandon?
Hail representing.
Yeah, man. That's fans of Hail to Stephen King. You should watch the show sometime. It's not bad.
Dude.
I'm just fucking with you, dude. That's my favorite thing to tell people when they're like, "Oh, you do this on the show?" I'm like, "Yeah, you should watch it sometime. It's not bad." I say that to my co-hosts. I tell that to Marsha. I'm like, "Yeah, Marsha, the show's not bad that you work on. You should watch it sometime."
Fuego is listen, you guys with your reading.
What's that?
Huh? Right. At least you got comics. There's a bunch of pictures. If it's not a movie, I don't know. And most of Stephen King's adapted stuff isn't very noteworthy as far as film and television is concerned. It leaves a lot to be desired.
All right. Well, I don't want to double post in Killer Flicks because I don't want to get ousted for Free For All Friday, thanks to you.
Friday, man.
But all right, we got people filtering in. Let's see. You said hello to Teddy and Savini Jason. Blanca's here. Chop, you said hi. Dino, you said hi. Jerks, what up, Brandon? Leroy Buchanan is here. And the horror miser, Monty G. What's up, Monty? Good to see you.
Monty. Yes.
Ocean Man, Mr. Sandman is here. Wait, is that all one? Ocean Man, Mr. Sandman, are they brothers? Okay, that's a long name, bro. You're Ocean Man from here on out. And
hi.
Then
just hi.
Just hi, yep. And then Ben Grimm, hola, sir. Hola. All right, cool. The chat's working good.
What's up, Corey?
Good. You know what?
Oh, look at that. You have it in the thing, too.
Yeah, I'm going to change the color of the chat name so people can see who's talking a little bit better. Let's do green instead. There we go.
Yeah, just do all this on the fly.
Hey, bro, what are you going to do, you know?
Dude, you get if your replay value here is... You're gonna have to give a time code when the show actually starts.
The show actually starts. That's why I usually have the pre-roll, but that's all right. All right, so I guess everyone can hear both of us, which is the most important thing. So that's good. So what do you say we get into this? So first off, why are we here? That's probably the best question to answer. Essentially, I had this little idea. And it's basically, I was like, horror movies lean on, good horror movies lean on good humor to carry through, or to follow up extremely tense or overwhelming scenes. It's purposely put in horror movies to let the audience breathe. And honestly...
to swing the pendulum back, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And... so I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, honestly, that's kind of what happens in real life too, or at least for me. And so when I thought of this, I was like, that'd be an interesting topic to discuss. And one of the funniest YouTubers I know is, of course, CP. And he has a channel, Wiliscredia, which I need to put in the link, which I can do right now. But the reason I wanted to discuss it with him is because A, he's a comedian. I would say self-proclaimed, but I think he actually does stuff because he somehow got Rappaport to do his intro.
Professional comedian.
Professional, right?
That's what's funny. When I had my gallbladder out, I was doped off my ass when I came to, and something happened. I don't even remember. Emily told me the story about what happened with the nurse, and she said something to me, and I had a quip, but I was dopey off my ass. She's like, "Oh, a comedian," and because I was so intoxicated, I was like, Emily, tell her I'm really. She needs to know that I'm really a comedian, like I'm an actual comedian. Like it was just a weird, stupid thing. There's so many times where I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, but
it's so important for you to let her know.
Yeah, no, I'm really a comedian. Seriously, I know you were just saying a joke to some high idiot, but
no, I promise. Really, I'm that way.
It's okay. I hate to do this.
So I thought that CP would have a unique insight as to, because first off, he's watched a lot of horror movies, mostly because his wife runs the show and she has a horror channel.
And in the chat, they've referred to me as Emily's husband already. So,
well, yeah, I made that joke a while back. You're Mr. Emily. Yes, that's always been the case for me. So you do occasionally watch horror movies, and because you have the unique insight of actual horror movie viewing, the unique insight of being a professional, I didn't mean to put air quotes around that, comedian, and then also the fact that, as far as I could tell, based on, the radio shows I've listened to, I listened to the first 7 years of Stern on Sirius, like literally every minute of every show. And so, and then I listened to my local radio show now, the morning show, The Morning Sickness, and if one thing has been made clear by all the comedian appearances on those shows, it's that comedians are largely really messed up people and have a lot of demons that they're struggling with.
The better ones, at least.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fair enough. And so a lot of them are frankly using humor as a lifestyle to get through some of the shit and work through some of the shit that they have gone through in their lives. Is that sort of an accurate statement, do you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, comedians, you think about when you go out, I mean, there are instances where, like, a bachelorette party, or, you're just going out because it's a change of pace. But when you go to a comedy club, chances are you've had a rough week, or something that you're trying to, again, swing the pendulum away from, man, work sucked this week, or, something happened personally that I need to swing from. And comedians, I would say at least half have a history of knowing, what, a lot of this shit sucks, and let's talk about how silly it is, and just kind of look in the face of it and recognize that, sure, it's real. At the time it sucks, but everything's, we're all gonna die. It's none of it's important. Everything's important, and nothing's important at the same time. If you can get to that, it's.
And that's the kind of sunny outlook you can get at Wiliscredia. No, but seriously, that's what I've understood based on the things that I've heard from these kinds of people. And honestly, I'm curious. I have like kind of a list of questions, not like interview questions, but just questions for us to sort of bandy back and forth. And sorry, I'm going to fix my hair because it looks ridiculous. But to just kind of, feel around and see what the general consensus is. We'll get the commenters' opinions. We'll obviously get our opinions. But why do you suppose humor is so widely used to deal with hard situations? I mean, we'll get to the horror movie of it all, but, let's stick with the real life of it all just to start off. What is it about humor that sort of helps alleviate the pain, do you think? I have my guess, but I wanted to get yours first.
Well, see, I guess on a case-by-case basis, it's kind of different. I know that there's a bit of a system, like a tiered system of stupid shit I've had to put up with, and just how much it bothers me. And the way to overcome it for me is to find something that is either peculiar or funny about it. Like, I don't know. So there's out there somebody slipped and fell off a building and died. Terrible for that person, but 99% of the people, let's just say for the sake of, I'm not sure if it happened or whatever, but let's just say some dude slipped on a banana peel, fell off the top of a building and died. Mm-hmm. Sucks for that guy, but most people would find that funny. Part of what I do is, no matter what I'm going through, is taking a step outside of what it is and what it means to me, and recognizing, all right, you know what, it's personal to me, it sucks for me, but where would somebody else, the majority, think it's funny?
If I had to answer the question, my answer boils down to just a one single word, which is distraction.
Porn?
No, well, yeah, fair enough. Well, it equates. No, distraction. And, you're feeling so awful that the only thing you can think is to distract yourself. And when you stack up everything, like all emotions being equal, if I am feeling really down and sad and I watch an action movie, at the very most, I'm just turning my brain off. Mm-hmm. If I watch a comedy or listen to a comedy podcast, which is what I tend to go to, mm-hmm. My brain actively works in another way. It actively works against the sadness and the downness, because it's, someone says something funny, it's funny no matter what mood I'm in generally. Like, mm-hmm. If I'm keying in on what they're saying, then it makes me laugh. And for that time, I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't even think about the horrible stuff that's been going on for that short amount of time. Whereas if you try and distract yourself with a drama or an action movie or, even another, excuse me, a horror movie, I think a kid's movie might get you there, because those can be kind of silly and those can be pretty world transporting. But the rest of it isn't going to get your mind space far enough away from what was bringing you down, I don't think, or at least as far away as a comedy would. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of what I was thinking on it. Let's see. Well, go ahead.
It differs for everybody. Like it's some people, I think it comes with life experience too. Like if you've had a relatively scot-free existence, perhaps you don't need to seek out humor, or you don't need to make the dark joke to help pass whatever you're dealing with. If you've been going about it with an easy time in your life, it's what is that? What if you're neutral, you're not red or green. What you don't need to again. I'm going to keep using this pendulum thing, but if you're not down, you don't need to be swung back up. But that's just my humble.
Cody Leach showed up and just chimed in with insert cucumber joke. So thank you, Cody. Appreciate that. It's a good ring in as usual. No, he just said, I take the approach that I can laugh at absolutely anything you make fun of me for. So it's open season on anyone and everything else, or everyone and everything else. All right.
Right.
That's
right.
But that, unfortunately, not everyone feels that way. So
I'm a complete subscriber to that. You know what? If the one thing I can't stand, especially like if a lot of people say shit and they say I'm just screwing around, and that's all well and good. But once it comes back around to somebody screwing around with them, then they get a little uppity and protective. That's where I get really. If I don't get offended by anything, I get offended by hypocrisy in people saying that they can handle anything. Like it's fine. If you're gonna be, if you're gonna play rough with jokes, just know that it's a two-way street, and that's basically all it comes down to. I completely sponsor what Cody said.
Well, it's that ultimately boils down to you got to be able to take it if you're gonna dish it out. But yeah, unfortunately, not everyone is built that way. Now, I'm curious. I know I have, and I'm sure you have too. But are you willing to share any instances that you can think of when you turn to comedy to sort of make it through some things. And if you want a moment to think, I have a couple of my own I could do real quick.
Then go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So one of the first one that I could remember off the top of my head was my dad passed away in '06, and he ended up first having a heart attack that he was found in time and taken to a hospital and stabilized. And when that happened, obviously, I was shaken. My father had had a heart attack, and when I was at the hospital, everyone else was kind of crowded around the bed and just kind of sitting there, and it like kind of hurt a little bit too much to just sit there and look at him, unable to open his eyes kind of thing. And so I just kind of went behind the bed and sat looking out the window, and I was at the time listening to Howard Stern. I can't even remember if I mentioned it on camera or off camera that I listened to the first 7 years of Sirius.
You did.
And basically, I was listening and I was laughing with my dad, laying in a hospital bed right behind me. And what's weird about it is that later my sisters and mom told me that every time, like, we would all try, they all tried to talk to him and stuff, but I didn't because I wasn't sitting there. And they said every time that I laughed at something I heard, he like would twitch a little bit, like his face would kind of move a little bit. So I didn't pick up on that until afterwards, after he had woken up and stuff. I wonder if I had been the one trying to talk to him and stuff, if that would have made a difference. But I sat there in the room with him listening to comedy to kind of try and cope. So that's one time. And then the other time that I was going to point to that was very apparent to me was about 4 or 5 years ago, I got broken up with by a girlfriend, and we had been together for, well over a year. So it was pretty, rough for me. And what I ended up doing was diving into, again, I'm a big fan of comedy podcasts, so I listened to the 10-Minute Podcast, which is no longer in that format, but it was Will Sasso, Brian Callen, and Chris D'Elia just doing improv for 10 minutes at a time. And there was like 300 episodes. So I just would listen to episode after episode after episode and laugh. And that's how I literally made it through like the month and a half following that I was so broken up. So I just know that it's how I get through things. And when something went down with my ex and ex show member Brittany, I again went to the comedy podcast to get through it. So that's my personal experience. Obviously, I'm sure there's more extreme circumstances for a lot of people, but do you have one?
I guess it's a little different for me because it's the kind of the other end. It's like asking somebody what do you eat. What's your midnight snack if you're trying to whatever. But from my end, I'm the guy who's actually I'm the chef, because I'm immediately thinking of when my father committed suicide. I stopped doing comedy for a while, just because I couldn't handle life. There was just so much that I couldn't figure out what was going on. I took a lot of it personal. Then my marriage descended into what would end up being a divorce, and it took a while for me to like square myself and say, all right, well, it's a big deal for me. Like, the problem was laughter, especially for me. Laughter made me feel good. I mean, I would challenge anybody who would genuinely give it a go to do stand-up comedy. If you can get a room laughing, it's pretty high up there with like orgasms, drugs. Laughter's contagious, and if you're trying to make somebody laugh and they laugh, it feels good. It feels really good. And there was just a point. There was like a 2.5 year period where I didn't care about that. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I didn't want to laugh. Like, it's strange for me to say that. Like, I was in no mood to make people laugh because I wasn't feeling good. But other times it's like I think part of it is, yeah, I sit on a lot of my stuff. A lot of my stage material is stuff that I sit on and think about and replay in my head and spread it out and figure out, all right, what's funny about this? What separates this from me? How do I look at this situation as somebody from the outside and make it funny? When I was going through that rut, I didn't care. It was just, if there's something funny right now, I can't. I'm too in my own head to give a shit, because normally everything, most of 99% of my humor is I've divorced myself from the fact that a lot of it. It's some of it's about me, and it's funny. It's like I made jokes about how terrible I was with women, and like a lot of it's based in reality, and it's taking a step away from that and saying, yeah, you know what, it's funny. It happened to me, but it's funny. Mm-hmm. That I didn't want to go down that road with the suicide and the eventual divorce. So there was a 2-year stretch. I guess I'm giving you the polar opposite of what you're asking, but before that, see, I play rough. I go a little dark.
I don't mind that myself. So if you guys mind it, then skip out.
Well, no, I guess again, it's divorcing yourself of the feeling and the personal touch to a situation. And like Gilbert Gottfried did at a roast the week after September 11th, had a joke that I think is hysterical. He said that he had a layover. he was late coming into New York City. The roast was in New York City. Mm-hmm. He was late getting into the city because he had a layover at the Empire State Building. This is a week after 9/11.
Oofa.
Yeah, and like, see, that stuff like that, like I dig that, because it's, somebody in the chat said it before that, there's a documentary on Netflix, and I don't know what the title of it is. Most of like the Catskills, traditional Shecky Jewish comedians dealt with post-Holocaust stuff by making jokes about it. So I don't know how it relates to, like, I still haven't really figured out how to capitalize on like my father thing. That's pretty deep. That, and then compounded with the fact that I had somebody that I was married to and figured that, you know what, I'm at my lowest, I need help, pick me up, and she said, I gotta go. This is too real, I gotta go. So that was like double pressure. Like, well, I got bailed on by two of my closest people. So like, I haven't figured out how to make that funny, but I'm at a point where I've moved on from it, and just if it comes around, it comes around. I'm just talking in circles. I'm
happy to let you hang yourself. No,
no pun intended.
No, it kind of was, but that's okay. No, I get it. And I don't want you to have to dwell on it, but I do understand now, and you don't know if that's ever going to come around for you. Maybe eventually, maybe years down the line, maybe you'll be able to deal with it in that way, but I don't think anyone would fault you for not being able to deal with something so heavy in such a light way yourself, right?
No, but again, going back to what I say about hypocrisy, if I can recognize that there's something funny about making a joke about having a layover in the Empire State Building, or somebody falling off the top of a building, then I have no business saying that, you know what, there's no humor in the fact that my father committed suicide and my wife left me within a year. It's just getting to the point of creating recognizing whatever it is that anybody who isn't attached to the situation would be thinking, and then just saying it.
Yeah, I mean, they must have been at 10s. You've only pushed me to like a 7, so Sorry, man. I know you could appreciate it if anyone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, all right. Moving on from that, and I do appreciate your candor and opening up to our audience that way.
Oh no, it's fine.
By the way, guys, the link to CP's channel is in the description box. It's not always like this. It's actually regularly more upbeat, where he does a regular showbiz beat sort of bit every Monday, right? You do a showbiz episode going
Dino,
over the you and Dino and who else?
Peter and Lindsay. Yeah, we talk. We like that's the if you like math, like if you like all this shit that they talk about, the fucking this movie made a lot of money this weekend. Like that's basically what we talk about. Why did this movie make money? What's the big deal? Mm-hmm. Oh, this movie tanked. That's kind of what the show is. But there's other stuff. I don't know what to call my channel. There's a reason it's not called Will I Like It Reviews anymore, because I was like, you know what? I don't want to do reviews exclusively. Let me call it something that nobody understands instead.
Let me touch on the audience just real quick, because
cool.
They have been commenting a little bit. Yeah, Dino said to put a bit of twisted humor in our real life crap makes it not so real, and I think that's true.
Exactly.
I think that's very true, Dino.
Right.
And even Monty says that's true, Dino. And
it also takes the power away from it too. My thing, I'll say this over and over again: feelings are one thing, words are another. If you can divorce the words that are describing the feelings from the actual feelings, you're ahead. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I've just said my father committed suicide. My wife left me within a year. In my head, I know what those feelings are, but saying that, I'm fine. Like, people get bothered. Like, not to touch on heavy subjects, but I deal with this as a comedian. People don't like it when you joke about rape. But they don't like the word rape.
It's especially touchy now in the last couple of years due to a particular movement.
Right. Well, especially some comedians.
True enough. That's true, CP. Sorry, that's a very awful version. Go ahead.
But like, it's one thing to be offended by the act. It's another thing to be offended by the word. Like the word shouldn't have power. I mean, if anything, our president right now uses words like they're nothing. So if it's that easy for somebody in power to just use hyperbole and rhetoric like that, why not? Why not in all other cases? Mm-hmm. People say, I can't tell how many times people say suicide around me and like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, what? Suicide happened before my dad killed himself. It's happened since. You didn't personalize it. It's not about me. So like, don't be afraid to say a word around me. But again, I understand that I'm a little different. People get offended by stuff like that, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that you marry words that are just generalizations to these feelings that you have, and it I don't know.
No,
it's hard.
I get it. It's funny. The thing that my mind goes to is something my dad said about suicide years ago to me that just always stuck with me. It was he said that his close friend had a sister that killed herself, and basically the way it was described to him, he repeated to me. So this wasn't my dad's thought, but he basically just said, suicide to her was the final fuck you. Like, it's just, you know what? Fuck the world, fuck it all, fuck you, I'm out. And it's like, I get it, but it leaves so many problems in its wake, and it leaves people to deal with it in varying ways. Obviously, one of which being comedy, which is what we're talking about here.
Yes, didn't mean to bring
just to link it
so
back.
down.
Just to bring it back. Sorry, no, that's not my fault.
Way to gather it in.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, so that is the real of the situation. Now, what I want to get into, a bit of a lighter version of this, is humor in horror movies, right? Like, as I mentioned at the beginning, and as you sort of went along with, the humor is used to sort of reset the palate in between the tense scenes and things like that. So Can you think of any, and I honestly didn't write any down, I should have, but this is off the top of my head. Can you think of any, A, well-handled, gallows humor, as it were, and B, any not so well-handled gallows humor from horror movies past? I think that's something maybe to think about for next time. If we can't
Shaun of the Dead is perfection, if you ask me. I mean, that it's funny, and it's still kind of grounded. Like there's some realism. Like, listen, the absurdity of a zombie outbreak. As long as you're with it to that point, like there's things like the record scene when they're throwing records. That's humorous, and it's not really trying to be like they're trying to fight off these zombies, and it's just an accident that a record seemed to work. So they said, all right, let's get the rest, and they're cycling through, and there's still some materialism because they're I forgot what it was. I forgot which album he didn't want to throw or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of that in Shaun of the Dead. Like the first time a zombie who comes through, one of them says he's got an arm off. Not the fact that it's a zombie. It's a fucking he's missing an arm. Like it helps because when you're dealing with, I mean, horror movies are really, really out there. Nobody wants to be in a situation like that. I mean, for as much as people love slashers, you wouldn't want to be chased by a fucking lunatic who's killing people. There's a sense of escapism in that. But I lost track of what I was going to say. Shit.
That's all right. Maybe it'll come back.
Do you have something?
Well, what I was going to say is, I don't have a specific example, but what if you had to say, what is the wrong way to use humor to deal with? I mean, is it just going? Because here's the thing, it's obviously a very fine line between appropriate gallows humor and humor that's just stupid or silly or crossing the line. Like, I don't know. Is there a formula for determining what that line is, or is it just trial and error, do you think?
I think it all has to do with the tone. It has to do with the tone of what you're doing with the movie. I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
A lot of when it works in horror, that where they do a comedic bit or a joke or something, it's announcing something that you would be thinking in that situation.
Yeah.
Where sure, and that's why it's a movie. It's not real life. That's what makes it great. You're running from somebody and something happens, and it's silly. But if you're running from somebody, your adrenaline's pumping. You're But if you stopped and thought about it, you'd think, oh yeah, why did that happen? That's where the movie takes over, and they're able to acknowledge that and say it. So they're saying something that you're thinking. I think that's how it works. Sometimes, I mean, I haven't studied gallows humor in movies, but at least for me, a lot of what I appreciate in especially dark humor is just recognizing something that you'd be thinking about and just putting it out there.
The only examples I can kind of think of off the top of my head, one from this year at least, is Bloodfest. That one handled the humor very well, and it was a heavy commentary on the horror movie genre and things like that. So I thought they did it pretty well. Again, Shaun of the Dead was a great example, but I don't know. It's when it gets too far, like Ben Grimm says, the Freddy movies got worse the more they inserted humor. Yeah. Like there's that balance, right? There's the kill has just happened, and then Freddy delivers a one-liner, right? That's the standard thing, but then it started to get over the top, and then the kills were the gag, and then Freddy's one-liners were just stupid, when you talk about, Cody's favorite Freddy movie, Freddy's Dead.
Yeah. Yeah, now we're playing with power. Like, it just became memes. It wasn't about tension
relief anymore.
Right. So how my perception of Freddy is he was sinister. He fucked up. He's doing shit to you in your dreams, and what made it neat was the fact that he was just so fucked up that he'd take a jab at you and say something that's cryptically funny, but it's like you said, the shift. It became less, oh man, this dude's fucked up and he's pissing on your ashes. It was more, he was literally pissing on your ashes, and it was just like, dude, you got to get me scared first. It was cartoons and video games, and it got weird towards the end there. It really did.
One of my favorite screen names, Count Cucula, says, personally, I favor the unintentional humor in horror movies. I think that's true.
I'd like examples.
I would take some too, but I know what he's going for. The ones that don't. Damn it!
Oh man,
CP, what'd you do to me? The ones that. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's no accidental humor, really. I mean, that's ultimately everything that's in a horror movie is written, unless it's been improv. But that is, in most horror movies, very few and far between. But I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, yes and no. I mean, unintentional humor is well, I guess. I mean, something like what, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2? What fucking
maybe
that garbage day thing. Like, you wonder if when they scripted that, shot that, whatever, if they were like, yeah, man, this is gonna work out awesome.
Well, see, then I have to, if that's what he's going for.
Well,
because I'm not a fan of that. If that's what he's going for. Like, okay,
well,
like the ones he says, like the ones you see in MST3K. I mean, if you're sitting down with the express purpose of MST3King it, fine, but I am not a fan of those because that's just excusing bad filmmaking, in my opinion. Baron WVS says tons of unintentional laughs in Night of the Living Dead. Maybe, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's obviously George Romero. That's not bad filmmaking, but that's of the time, and so that's what's producing the laughs. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people specifically writing in humor to deal with these heavy situations. That's
yeah. See, I think I would say, at least my perception of the definition of unintentional humor is, you're trying to be scary and you're not. Well, at least in the horror genre, unintentional humor is, man, you're trying to do one thing and you're not only are you not, but man, I gotta laugh at how much you fucked up.
Ben Grimm says the bees scene in Wicker Man is unintentional humor. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. There's a good one.
So Monty says, I believe the Lost Boys did it well. I agree. I would say the Lost Boys balanced the humor and the horror pretty well. That's a good one, Monty. That's a good one. I'd have to start thinking down those lines in order to see what else. I thought, again, I might be the only one, but I really liked Super 8, and I thought that balanced sort of the humor and the horror because it was JJ trying to be Steven Spielberg doing a creature movie. But I don't know.
See, there's different level. Like if we're gonna stick to like horror thriller, there's different levels of like humor and like. I think this comes more with multiple viewings than anything, and not like on a first watch. But like I want to reference Fargo so bad here, but it's not a horror.
Go ahead. No one's gonna hate you.
Fargo, like I think everything that happens in Fargo is just so funny. Even if it's not supposed to be funny, it's just so funny. Like what's going on there. William H. Macy's character, he's such a fucking dud, and everything he does is funny. Like you watch it 5 or 6 times, he's just a fucking hopeless idiot. But to kind of bring back to the start, something like Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill, like I laugh at shit that the first 2 or 3 times I didn't think was funny, but like was she? Put the goddamn dog in the basket. Yeah, was she a great big fat person? Like that, like it's kind of funny after a couple of times.
She's a great big fat person. I love doing the Buffalo Bill, man. He's so funny. All right, let's see. Ravenous was a dark comedy, which I loved, says Count Cucula.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Ravenous is a terrific horror film. People are agreeing. Jeff Floyd, by the way, to answer your earlier question, we did review The Domestics, but it's on our Patreon. So if you want to watch that review, going to cost you $5, buddy. Otherwise, it'll get released eventually on the regular channel. Yeah, well, it's okay, CP. Why don't you just handle your stuff over there, Mr. You know what? I'm not going to go there.
It's been a rough year for me.
I get it, dude. I get it. Okay, so let's see. Next up, the simple question I had is: there's something wrong with us for using comedy in this way, or for being into as black of a humor as we tend to be into?
So to some people, yes. To some people, yes. That like to go back to what I said before about if you haven't dealt with something ridiculous, you'd be like, why are there being jokes told right now? Like, what? This is not a thing to laugh about. So what's wrong with us? Is there something wrong with us? To some people, yes. But I'll flip it and say at the same time. You know what? If people are offended and don't understand black humor, you know what? Take yourself out of the situation. Take the fact that that whatever you're being offended by, don't make it so personal. Don't make it so human. Recognize that we're all silly. Like none of this is. I mean, my big thing is like a lot. Taking yourself too seriously is I don't know. It just takes years off your life. At least I would assume. I don't.
I would tend to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I'm not saying somebody, a friend of yours dies in a car accident and you start cracking jokes in an hour, but at the same time, recognizing that if you're not close to the situation, that there's things that somebody would find funny. I mean, and it's a spectrum. There's a wide spectrum of black humor, like just how far, like that Gilbert Gottfried joke. People would think that that's pretty, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's pretty high. That's especially in the timing. That was a week after 9/11. I would 10 out of 10. Little rough doing that joke in New York City too. But it's the scale. It's just strange. I always ask somebody, why is it okay? Why is it not okay to joke about rape, but it is okay to joke about murder? Like that never made sense to me, because they're both horrific acts. You can't.
One is still just that much more stigmatized than the other, though. I mean, that's why rape is just more stigmatized than murder, as silly as it is. I mean, it's not silly; they're both awful. So, I mean,
you know what? Rape is something that one person deals with. Murder is death. Somebody was taken from a bunch of people that love them, so it's a bit more widespread. I'm not trying to put a value system or anything. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
CP says rape victims aren't as important as murder victims. Got it. Got it. Very clear. If anyone takes anything away from the stream, that's it.
Well, more often than not, a rape victim's not going to share that with a bunch of people. But a murder victim, the people that care about that murdered person have to deal with that. Unfortunately, a rape victim more often than not deals with that on their own. So, like, just simple math. Why is it okay to joke about murder when more people are affected by it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. That is a very good question, because if you're thinking, number of victim wise, then yeah. But I guess maybe some people think of it in the opposite way, like those people that are dealing with the death of a loved one due to murder can all band together to sort of get through it together, maybe, whereas the rape victim is on their own to deal with it in their head day in and day out with no help from anyone else, which could be more horrifying for some.
Sure. I mean, that you can go right down the line: rape, torture. Like there's just a bunch of things that human beings, things done to humans that aren't accepted or welcomed. Like there should be a stigma attached to all of it, and it's just strange that there's this like value system, a hierarchy of sorts. I don't understand it, but I'll joke about some of the darkest shit and recognize the humor intent in some stuff. But I would say at least 50% of people would say, why, how dare you? How can you laugh about something like that? Why? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I get comments and stuff like that with Lee. As much as I give him a ribbing, it's me having fun. The only difference is Lee doesn't give it back to me. So people think I'm just like that. That's part of it. People think I'm just being a fuckhead because it's not a two-way street. He's just being polite. But it doesn't mean that like I'm serious at all about any of it and not trying to protect him from the street's open. He just doesn't drive down it. So I end up looking like an asshole. It's hard for people to understand that as much as things seem serious, there are people out there that for better or worse don't treat it as some do.
Well, let's just go ahead and ask the natural follow-up question. Would you rather be raped or murdered? No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually want your answer to that. Cole Cole asks, so what do you guys think of about the I Spit on Your Grave original reboots and such? I'm guessing, Last House on the Left could count. Are you a fan of revenge-type movies? Obviously, more recently, Revenge from this year.
Which I haven't seen. I heard it's incredible.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's not that much different than all the other ones, honestly. But
the other ones,
yeah, they're all the same, honestly. After 4 now I Spit on Your Grave movies, after at least 2 Last House on the Lefts, and now Revenge, like it's such a common thing in horror movies, rape revenge movies, that I honestly, if I had to give you my outright opinion, I don't like watching them. Because some of the movies recently have been taking it so far. The I Spit on Your Grave remake and the Last House on the Left remake specifically made me very uncomfortable because how graphic and how long the rape scenes went for. Like, it felt very indulgent of the filmmakers to make it last that long. Like, dude, I get the idea. I don't need to be exposed to it for 5 full fucking minutes. I just don't.
Right. And some of that, like, again, some of it is separating what you're looking at, and like this is what I try to do if I see a really fucked up anything scene in a movie. I think about what they're doing in between takes. All right, you got to go get more corn syrup. We got to do it again because it sprayed here. It looks fucked up, but they're just they're just trying to make it look that way. But it's like you said, like Irreversible. I don't know if you've seen Irreversible.
I haven't yet, no.
Dude, there's a 10-minute rape scene, no cuts.
No.
And it's a one-shot. No. And I can't wrap my head around that because even thinking about, all right, behind the scenes, in between takes, like how do you get there? How do you get there? And that stuff is uncomfortable because if I can't get around the idea of, all right, well, we gotta get this Snickers bar and pretend that we're throwing shit at each other. Like, if you can't get in the mindset of like what they did to make it seem so fucked up, and it still seems fucked up if you think about what they're doing, like behind the scenes. I don't know. Rape in movies is I don't know. I just read something that Dakota Johnson hated filming some stuff for 50 Shades because it was just like, she was naked for 9 hours and simulating whatever, and it's just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, like, does Kubrick need to direct 50 Shades? Really? Do we need 40 takes of her filleting a guy? No, I don't. And that's the thing. And again, this is an entirely almost different discussion, but is it fucked up that I would rather watch 5 minutes of someone skinning another human alive than watch 5 minutes of straight rape?
Well, dude, like, and again, it goes back to what I was talking about. Like, you know, in your heart of hearts, the dude's not really getting skinned. It's
right.
Just, it's
but the rape, there's an iffy, like, you don't know if that dude was skeezy, if he had a little hard on, even if they were just,
oh man, yeah,
just, you know what I mean, just sort of doing it outside of the clothes. And just to lighten it up a scotch, the one thing regarding that I heard was a really funny interview with Hugh Jackman, where he actually was talking about how he was talking to a female co-actor in one of his movies, and she was an older woman, and he's like, what happens when, if you're ever in a love scene with another actor and he gets, excited? And her response was, "Darling, I'd be pissed if he didn't." And I was like, that's fucking great. But on the darker flip side of that, I'm sure there are a lot of dudes that get, a lot of chads that get into the acting industry looking like a chad that get in and get a little dry humpy with some of their actress cohorts that aren't necessarily wanting it. I don't know. Like, that's what runs through my head when I'm watching a 5-minute long rape scene.
What's that movie where, what was it, Chloe Sevigny? Actually gave she actually gave head in a movie or something like that?
Well, and there's the tale of Harvey Keitel actually jerking off in Eyes Wide Shut to completion in front of Nicole Kidman, and then getting kicked off the set as a result.
Harvey Keitel. Not in...
Yeah, that's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, listen, it's art.
To an extent, for some people, apparently.
Well, listen, the one thing I'll never forget in film school, right off the bat, because they were talking about, what I forgot. I think they showed us the scene from Titanic. Like, just remember, there's no artistic merit in porn, and I was like, well, why? You watch a drama to get a certain emotion. You're watching porn to get a different emotion. It's a really gray area. I don't know what this has to do with humor, but I mean, we can go down a really dark road about what the fuck, people who create art sometimes get a little too full of themselves. I want to make this look really realistic. All right, Lars.
Exactly.
Let's calm down over there, huh?
I specifically avoided watching that movie because I missed the unrated presentation, and I refused to watch the rated R presentation. I'm going to watch The House That Jack Built when it comes out in an unrated format in June, and I'm going to miss it for 2018 as a result. But honestly, maybe as a sort of weak follow-up to what you just said, I'm intrigued to wait and watch the unrated version of that Psychos movie because of how crazy it could get.
Yeah, I've already slated it for my Who Would Like That series.
Oh, really?
I'm doing a Serbian film next, and then I'm doing The House That Jack Built right after that, because it is like, what have I done? I've done Irreversible. I've done Martyrs.
You did Sallow, which I am purposely never going to watch because of your review of Sallow. Everyone's like, you should really watch Sallow. I'm like, I'm good on shit eating, thanks.
Yeah, dude. Again, there's no you could tell me it's art all you want. I need a 5-hour session on why for certain things. Like there's just people getting tortured, do it. I can't get myself onto the set mindset and being like, all right, so we're gonna simulate getting anally raped, and then you're gonna eat shit, and then from here we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna shoot you in the backyard,
and then pizza lunch.
Yeah. And then we're gonna break. Yeah, like that's a wrap for Steve. Let's hear it for Steve. Hey.
Oh, don't forget to clean up your asshole on your way out.
Yeah, like it's like
what?
Come on, man. That movie is just.
I refuse. I'll watch a Serbian film 100 times before I watch a shit-eating movie. I can't get into it. I never watched Two Girls, One Cup with good reason.
Well, Two Girls, One Cup is actually shit. I don't know what the hell's going on in Salo, but
they're too close for comfort, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just debauchery. Like, is there artistic merit? I don't think so. I mean, I get it, abuse of power, but do you really need to show us all of that? I don't know.
Cole followed up her comment saying, I've only seen the original, I'm assuming I Spit on Your Grave, and as a female, the reboot and the second one, but the first reboot and the original scenes really turned my stomach. The second one, for some reason, I can handle better.
So the 2009 remake?
With that hot-ass cover. Like, what's with that? Like, you have a movie about a girl that's been raped and you're trying to sell her sex on the cover. That's so at odds with the movie's message itself. But
yeah, I can't give you a counterpoint to that. I'm
no. Sometimes you can just say I agree.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense.
One of the greatest horror covers, though. Honestly.
I mean, I can't tell. Like we talked about this when we did our VHS thing, going to video stores. Damned if every time I went to Blockbuster, I wasn't like, man, what's going on with that?
Yep.
Like they did their job.
Yep, you're not wrong.
Sex sells, unfortunately, and but like, yeah, it is strange to sell sex, and maybe. And again, like this is I'm giving the creator some rope, but perhaps it's kind of like, you know what, I want the sex to sell, but then I want to turn it on its head because you should be disappointed. You should feel shame that you want to see this. I mean, I can wrap my head around that, but I don't think that's always the case, especially when you're exploiting. But I mean, I wrote and directed half a short film based on the roles of sex. I didn't name drop. I didn't. But I showed footage to people, and they're like, "Oh, you're just trying to show off tits." I'm like, "No, I'm not." So I mean, I could see both sides of the argument. And there's no rape scenes in what I wrote, for the record. Just
sure, there's not, CP. Sure.
Well, I was just trying to. The point of what my short was to the fact that women and men, there are exploitations that are way different sexually. I mean, you don't need to have a guy with half a testicle hanging out of his shorts to sell a movie for a woman.
Although it would help.
But
honestly, that might be a logical next step for this, because this has been a bit of a downer show.
Yeah,
so I think no. I just don't know if a continuing series about this topic is a great idea. Maybe we move on to the sexualization of the different genders in the next one and do stuff like that. I don't know. As you said earlier, we're kind of just doing this as a test to see what sticks and whatnot. And well, I think it is important to talk about this kind of stuff, though, because not enough people do address it in a public forum, in my opinion.
What? Handling humor when
horror, or Jesus, we spent, seems like
humor
10
and
minutes
Jesus?
Talking about rape. Well, Jesus, rape, and torture. No, yeah, I don't hear many people on live streams talking about rape in horror movies versus murder in horror movies versus whatever and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think it is something important to talk about.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Cecil, you joked about it, but like, let's get into this,
All
man.
right.
You got to change the title of this from
I'm
humor,
gonna.
by the way. You're gonna have to change the title from humor because we've
The heaviest podcast ever.
this is an absolute abortion as far as humor is concerned.
Oh, abortion, is that next on the title?
Yeah, listen, let's get darker.
All right, go ahead.
So genuinely, rape or murder, like what would be more difficult
To
to experience,
okay.
to do?
I mean, let's be clear. I mean, they both sound fun.
How much is she
but-
fighting if it's rape?
Yeah, I mean, is it a final girl or a final guy? What's the circumstances? See, there you go. Finding humor in the darkness. Now we're back full circle again.
Yeah, and I guarantee at least 5% is offended with something we just said.
That's less than I would have thought.
I said at least.
We got a oh boy in the comments.
See, there
From
it is.
Count Cucula, no less. No, to experience, honestly, I mean, I think murder would be scarier, but rape would be, I mean, at the risk of being obvious, rape would be a longer lasting damage.
It's psychological.
Yeah, it's longer lasting. You're never going to get over it. Murder you can get over because you don't have to deal with it. Like,
but if it's quick, like what if you're getting some?
Well, if you're talking torture and murder, that's different.
Well, all right. So I should have specified. I didn't mean like a gunshot to the head. Now, like what if you're a victim in a slasher movie, you're getting chopped up or whatever like that. Listen, I had
versus a victim in I Spit on Your Grave.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Again, it's just they both are awful, but one of them is going to have a lasting thing that having never had to deal with it. I don't know. Like, you'd have to ask someone. Again, we're very dark right now, guys. We acknowledge this. You'd have to ask someone that has actually legitimately been raped whether they would prefer to have been murdered or gone through what they went through. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to quantify how I would feel if I was raped, having never, thank God, been raped. Knock on wood. I'm going to knock on everything wood.
There's still time, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the glimmer CP gets in his eye. I just don't know. I'm going to come all the way from New York. But, all right, let's see. She doesn't get raped and I spit on your grave, says Queenie. Or she doesn't get raped just once and I spit on your grave. Oh, yeah. Well,
just once. Only once.
Yeah.
Hey, wouldn't that be enough?
Oh, that's weird. So
What?
one of her comments was not shown in the chat pop-out, but it does show up in this on-screen chat. Interesting. She doesn't get raped just once and I spit on your grave. Shows up in the on-screen chat, but not in the pop-out chat. Interesting. So, Queenie says murder, I would rather. Queenie, do you mind if I ask your thinking on that? Why? Is it because of the lasting effects? And only answer if you're comfortable answering.
I see. I would. Yeah, I guess I'm the person who asked the question. It depends, like, because there is some finality to murder. Like at least you're gonna die. The pain is gonna end. But I would imagine some bad murders, some like, especially if we're talking in the realm of horror movies. Hostel, where is it Hostel 1 or 2 where the dude skins the guy and cooks his
probably 2. That sounds like taking it the next step.
The delicacy, like the guy's just eating him alive, and like that to me, like that's a bad time. Like that's pretty heavy. Listen, I'm not saying that somebody can't be hardcore in a rape. Like I think of Sopranos, the therapist when she gets raped in the parking garage. A spoiler if you haven't seen a 10-year-old television series, but that is relatively quick. It's terrible. Yeah, you're experiencing something. In all cases, you're experiencing something you don't want to experience, but there's a bit of solace in the fact that all right, that guy, he's trying to do something quickly, he getting his rocks off, and he's fleeing. It's but 2 minutes, if that. Whereas this thing in Hostel, you're getting tortured. You're watching the guy eat your flesh while you're just waiting to die, and I'm certain it's not a pleasant feeling. Like I had my wisdom tooth pulled a couple of days ago, and fucking.
Oh, that's got to be comparable.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I'm just saying. I'm a big bitch. Like
I get it.
It's. I can't imagine. Somebody bail me out, please.
I get it. No, Cole just actually sent us $2 for our discussion, so thank you, Cole. Much appreciated.
Hey, thanks, Cole.
Queenie, I don't know if you want me to read this. So Queenie did post. She has unfortunately personal experience with one of the two scenarios, and she would prefer murder. So I'm guessing you can tell which one. So
I was just gonna say, Cecil, you said one of the two.
Yeah, well,
and if there's still,
I get it. I'm trying to be fluffy about it, CP. Fuck. But anyway, I appreciate you sharing that, Queenie. I'm sorry that happened, but it does lend to your insight. So you would rather murder, having been through that. So, or rather be murdered. I'm sure she'd rather murder the person that did it, but be murdered versus going through that. That is, pretty straightforward. I think she would have a more valid opinion on the subject than both you or I, honestly.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Thank you, Queenie, for sharing. I appreciate that. Again, we're not trying to keep it super dark, but yeah, she says, my mother had some terrible friends. She was a drug dealer and an addict. I've unfortunately heard that story before. One of the things that happened in my life was a result of someone's family being a complete and total fucking mess, and it just bled into everything. And even though I tried to help, it didn't matter. It just destroyed everything. Like, it doesn't matter. So it's a shame, man. Those scenarios are horrible for so many people. It just sucks. Anyway, trying to get this thing back on track. So let's see.
So you know what, Cecil, we're pretty well spread around the horror community. I think you brought it up before we went out, like when we were trying to figure out what to do. I think an idea is getting different characters, different people with different backstories, and what, like Queenie, for instance. Queenie has a hell of a sense of humor, and again, all things considered. How can somebody have such a great sense of humor with the history that Queenie has gone through? So
very good point.
It'd be interesting to get different people with different experiences and ask them what makes you laugh, why, and why can't punk bitches understand that? That with their squeaky clean life, playing Scrabble on a Friday night, that they don't understand that we're joking about the dark stuff, that we can find humor in it.
Maybe we just do that. Maybe we just do this like once a month or something and tackle the dark topics and tackle the hard topics. And yeah, like I mentioned on the Werewolf Den when I posted about this tonight, that I was thinking going forward we'd probably have a guest, a show or something like that, or maybe do hangouts or whatever. But I think that would be a great place to start, talking to Queenie about, if she's willing, talk about her experience, or at least get her insight on this sort of topic, and maybe some other people. I don't know. I think there's value with not keeping these things, separated from society. You have to discuss them in order to bring them out of the darkness and into the light, and shine the light on the badness. You know what I mean? My things
always take the power away from it.
Yeah.
If it's just a thing that you talk about and don't pay any mind to, there's no power in it. I'm the biggest proponent of words. Words shouldn't have any power, especially if there's no feelings or intent behind those words. You gotta separate how you feel versus what somebody's words. Fuck, I don't know how to fucking do that.
No, I hear you.
There's clubs, there's comedy clubs where let's talk about comedy for a second.
Yeah, hey, tie it in again.
There's comedy clubs where they'll have like a hot list of words that you can't say, just words that you
really,
yeah,
like
and
the
not
7
all.
dirty words except for comedy.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's certain certain parts of the country, certain words are like blacklisted. I don't know how I see. I have no problem saying words.
Go ahead. I mean, dude, we talked about rape for 10 minutes. We're gonna be demonetized. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, for the sake of your channel. I mean, you talk about horror, but so the three most popular are nigger, cunt, faggot. Those are the 3 most popular words that you can't say. Okay. In comedy clubs, or maybe not the most popular, but I notice them more than anything else. And the fact that I just said those 3 words, somebody could be offended right now.
Oh, and guys, we're not, proponents of those words. He's literally just illustrating that these words are off limits.
Right, and I also want to state that in the context of what I said, what is the real value of those words that I just said? They're
not necessary to get points across, in my opinion.
Those words?
Yeah.
See, not
necessary, but can be used for punctuation.
Right. See, my thing is, it's kind of like the apple. Like if the Adam and Eve apple, by the way. If you tell me I can't do something, I want to know why, and I want to do it more. Mm. Like why? Well,
that's a 5-year-old mentality, but
I don't. So those are 3 generalizations. I'd say, I don't know. Cunt.
I don't have nearly as big a problem with that as I do the other 2.
That's an America thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So
UK, it's like every other person is that.
Right. The other 2 are generalizations about a certain person or a certain lifestyle, a certain background, things that people don't have any choice over. So again, it's just the way I feel. I'm part Italian. If somebody said "wop" to me, I wouldn't take offense to it. Like, all right, so you're
that's good to know, because I always refer to, when I'm talking about you to Cody, I'm always like, that fucking wop.
Oh, that wop CP. Yeah, right.
I call you Mr. Wop because I can't refer to Emily as one. So
Guinea Wop CP.
I gotta think of something better for Emily. I don't know, but I never want to offend her. She's too awesome. I'll offend you all day long. I don't care.
And no, I'll agree with that wholeheartedly. But like, again, it's just me. I understand that I'm a little different. But if somebody called me a guinea, my thing is, oh, okay, so you're trying to talk about my nationality, like that's not me. Like, yeah, I'm a dude who jokes about shit that perhaps I shouldn't joke about, but I like hockey, I like movies.
Bro, you clearly wipe a glaze of grease off you before every stream.
Right, exactly. Like I love Goodfellas. Like I've worked in places where it's stereotypically like Godfather, Goodfellas type stuff. But if somebody were to generalize me and call me something like that, I'd be like, that's not me. Like, good job, you recognized something about me, but that's not me. That word does not define anything about me.
Bro, I gotta commend you, because you have crafted a look for yourself where I would never think good fella. So good for you.
Well, I'm half Italian. I'm half Italian, French, Canadian, Irish, and I think a teeny tiny bit German. So like, another reason why I can't get offended, because if I could pick the nationality, I'm probably it.
Okay, so just real quick, Queenie says one of my faves is douche canoe. It makes me giggle like a small child. I'm a big fan of douche nozzle. I like douche nozzle myself.
Douche canoe sounds like an actual vagina.
True enough. Let's see. Late Horror Show. Dino says Thing is, those words meant something different when I was younger. Those same words that slip out offend in a different way now. I think they offend in a lot of the same ways, but they do offend in different ways as well. They offend the same way they used to, but in different ways too now.
Well, that's another thing too. Sensitivity is getting a little. I mean, this is me, the guy who's working with words that it seems like they're getting narrower and narrower. Where I don't have any ill intent whatsoever with those words, but it seems that people are getting a lot more sensitive lately, and it doesn't make sense to me that the words have different meanings now, because they're just generalizations. Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to the word faggot, if you watch what is it, Monster Squad?
Yeah,
a bunch of kids, they refer to themselves as that, like that. Mm-hmm. that word. They're not calling each other gay. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't.
Well, it's so difficult for me to explain. It's where you get into the site. No, I get it, because at the time, it didn't mean gay to us, the people that used it. And I'll admit to it, I used it when I was growing up too, because I grew up around Monster Squad. So I'm going to blame Monster Squad. But but what I'm saying is, there was no ties to the word meaning gay when we said it. At the time, it was the same thing as saying, oh, you're just stupid, you're an asshole, you're a dick. And like, in retrospect, though, that is shitty, because you are using a slang term for gay people to describe something negative. So there is that equivocation, or not equivocation, equivalency that shouldn't be there. That most people, 80% of the people saying that word don't mean it that way, or at least that I've come across. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean we should be able to say it, because the roots of it, the roots of that other F word, are in badness. They are trying to dig at gay people. So even though it got away from that to us because we were too young to know the difference, that is the roots of it, right?
All right. So here, let me stereotype and generalize. Typical meathead. Just think of, you called him Chad before.
Chad, sure.
Yeah. Think of the muscle bound dude who's like very, very homophobic. He probably says faggot in a derogatory term. I'll try to stop saying it. I'm sorry. But this is the same guy that I would guarantee you, if he got in a tussle, one of his first things to say to somebody would be, suck my dick. Hey, buddy, you know what? Suck my dick. Well, all right. So
why is that a bad thing?
Right. So wait a minute. Mm-hmm. If that one word is something negative, why in a fight with another dude, why would you say suck my dick?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I'm sure I've said that too.
That's what the absurdity of the words that we use. That's where I think, all right, you know what? None of these words should mean anything, because if person A is using, again, one term for to offend somebody, and then it go in the opposite direction, and then just completely unironically, I guess, just be an absolute hypocrite with the way they use language.
That's why I say suck my clit. Best of both worlds.
Right. Well, I guess like it's the point is the people who are using these things for malintent, more often than not, you can point to something and say, do you know how much of a fucking moron you are? Because sure, you say this to be malicious to somebody, but at the same time, you said this and it makes you look 5 times worse.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not wrong. Cole sent another $2, enjoying an open and honest chat. I love that. How about the word? Wait, Dino says how? Okay, let's see. Count. Trying to follow back. Yep. LOL. Count. How about the word? Damn. Autocorrect. LOL. I'm not sure what you're saying, Dino. I'm sorry. Uh, Queenie Todd says "Clitty Clitty Bang Bang." I would watch that movie. But so, do you think that should we just reset? Should we say, all words are what they are? They don't have any subtext or anything like that, and just say everything is fair game. Fuck what it used to be. Fuck what the connotations used to be. Now, it's just it's for comedy purposes. Can we all just agree that using the N word or the F word is all for comedy purposes? Like, would that really fix anything? Like, are there some words that deserve to be vilified?
So. I think so, because I'll tell you, I think words shouldn't have power. It's the intent, and it's the feeling, and it's what you're trying to. Cecil, give me a word that's offensive to you, that somebody would generalize for you, that would probably offend you.
It doesn't for an example. Here's the thing. It hurts me. I don't take offense because it's true, but any fat joke still gets to me.
All right, so how about instead of me telling a fat joke, or just saying that you're fat, that's the word that you recognize as all right, fat. That I know what that means. That guy's saying something. That's a universally accepted word for what you're bothered by. Mm-hmm. Let's just say I have a word. Bleefy. You don't know what that word means. Hey, and I say, hey man, hey, what's going on, Bleefy? Yeah, and that word means nothing to you. True. But I know that I'm calling you fat with my homemade word. What's worse?
How is that different than the N word or anything else? That's a fair point. That's
a fair point.
Yeah. Well, dude, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. It's worse because people know the intent of the others. People don't know the intent of what you just said, and the people that say things like that are doing it to get the reaction that they're hoping for. They're not going to there's not a lot of sly racists out there that are like, you know what, I'm gonna be the perfect guy at my mortgage job or whatever the fuck some high-end white job would be. And I'm gonna come up with a word to call black people that they'll never know equates to the N word.
Right.
But I'm gonna say that, and it's gonna make me happy. I don't think truly racist people would be satisfied with that. I think they have to go with the thing that they know, because the purpose of saying those words is to injure the person you're saying them to. So if they're not going to know they're injured, then what's the point?
I'll say the majority of people do that, yes. But I think people, like generalization, stereotypes, it's something that I deal in. There's like the other day, I burned something in the oven, and I use the N word I think I use it as a verb.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And I'm not judging. It's interesting because I have said the F word because I grew up saying it without realizing what it was. So I get it. I'm not.
Yeah, no, it was cookies. I burnt cookies, and I said these niggering cookies are burnt.
Wow.
That's not, has nothing to do with anything. It was just, insert offensive word here. You have to answer that?
It's not. No, that's my '80s phone. And you're sure it's not because the cookies were burnt?
Oh wow! See, no.
I mean, come on. There's that logical.
I understand what you're. Yeah, I see. I could see that, and I can understand why somebody would think something like that, and I would apologize if let's say Emily, who's experienced me say a lot of things that she's been enlightened to.
You're still together, huh? Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she identifies as bisexual.
As long as you don't say anything about Doctor Who, you're good.
Well, she identifies as bisexual, and
oh, really? Again, that's interesting.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times if I'm watching sports, I'll say these faggots can't play sports right. I don't mean that they're a bunch of homosexuals. But the first couple of times she's like, "But why did you say that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I that word doesn't mean what it does.
So do you recognize that as something that you
need
to change, or what? How does that work for you?
What I can do,
or is it just in public, but in private you do what you want?
Well, in public I'm a little more, and this technically isn't public, so I guess I'm blowing myself up. This is the privacy of my own home. I would if I stubbed my toe in Walmart, I wouldn't say my N-wording foot hurts.
I just don't understand using it as an adjective anyway.
Adjective. Why'd I say verb?
It's
it's
like,
just,
did your toe suddenly get good at stealing stuff? I don't get it.
So, like, again, it's taking the power away from these words that have so much power. But like when you brought it up, the fact that they're burnt, I didn't even think of that. Well, I was using a bit of an example. Like the sports thing, using the F word. I'm not implying that they're homosexual,
right?
And the same thing. But if you were to say, why did you say that? That's a little on the nose. I would take a step back and say, I can understand why you think that, and I apologize. Like that I don't ever have ill intent with words.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
all I could do is say that I didn't mean it the way that it seems.
No, I get it, but I think the way I feel, and I think the way a lot of people feel, would be, I would rather, if someone did that, like, I'm not, like, my eyes would open, I'd be like, but yeah. I wouldn't necessarily, I would wait and be like, okay, what's the deal here? And then if the person is like, oh, I didn't mean it that way, I apologize, I'm still working through, we're all growing, it's 2018, I'm working through how I was raised and things like that. Like, that to me is more acceptable than just someone that says, oh, I just say it that way because I don't mean it that way, and I'm just going to keep doing it. It's like, I get that mentality, but at the same time, I also feel like we need to try and evolve a little bit. And society has changed. And yes, it's not our preference to have to change how we think about something or how we talk about something, but shit happens, man. And I mean, is there really that much of a difference between the suffering of these people and the suffering of the people who had family members going way extreme, who had family members in the Holocaust? Because it's just as effective.
It's all relative, though. Like, yeah. I could say, listen, to a homosexual who doesn't like that word. That word probably causes them a lot of pain. I could say, listen, I've experienced something with suicide, and you could say the word suicide around me. You could say dead father around me. That situation, I've had a lot of pain with something associated with that word. I'm not going to marry that word to my feelings about what that thing is. Granted, people don't say, actually, no, that's not entirely true. I've had comments where people have...
I'm covering my mouth because I want to jump in and be like, but not everyone is you, right? Not everyone can compartmentalize like that.
Well, and I guess that's my defense is... I understand. I really do.
And I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not coming down or anything.
Obviously. No, not at all.
Discussion.
No, and if it did, I would understand it, because, like, I get it that I'm in the way minority when it comes to stuff like this.
I mean, you're white, so no, but okay.
my privilege coming
through. Or maybe in New York you are. I don't know. I haven't checked the stats recently.
Yeah, in New York, where I am, I'm definitely in the minority. But it. I recognize like that it's not normal, but at the same time, all I can tell you is that I don't put value in stuff like that, and that's the best I can do is
just hope people understand that that's not you.
Right? Well, yeah, hopefully I see my thing would be, I would hope that you would judge me on my character and not words that I use.
Well, and not only that, but I would assume you're not going to use these kinds of words unless you're around people that will know the difference, right?
Right.
So, okay, so I get that. I understand that. But
yeah,
what you got to be careful
I recognize
about...
I can't... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you got to be careful because there's people like you and me that can think that way. But then there's the Chad that can be like, okay, I know I can talk about this with my boys because they get it. But it's not the same reason they don't talk about it in public. They actually feel that way, but they know only their boys will understand it. We don't actually feel that way, but we also know that only our friends would understand it.
I would take the opposite side of that and say that's even more reason why I want to say these things in public, just to show that, like, listen,
not all of us are Chads.
Not only that, like, listen, this is what I say in the privacy of my home. I don't mean it in the privacy of my home. I'm saying it without any sort of value system to it. I don't mean anything ill about what I'm saying. Here, let me say this in public. This is how I talk. There's no difference between me here and me behind closed doors. I don't hate anybody, especially not generalized behind a word like that. There's stuff that we have no choice over. Like a lot of things that people get offended by are things that you really have no choice over. It's just a thing that society uses stereotypes to describe something about you, but it's just a generalization. It's not the person that you are. It's not your character. It's not what you love and hate. It's just a thing that people can point to.
I might have to try a different plug-in for these comments just as a sidetrack because it's not showing all the comments that are showing up. It's a bummer.
Oh, are they lighting up? Have I been unsubbed?
No, it's just it's still stuck on all of Queenie's unfortunate circumstances as opposed to like the 40 comments since. But for instance, Choplock says this is a very interesting conversation. Count Cucula says, I'm sensitive about my hairline. I hate it when people call me Perry Quomover, which I love. He didn't put the W in there, but I assume it's Perry Quomover.
Oh, sure. Listen, another reason why I always wear hats.
You have a balding train going on?
Time's ticking. So,
really? Do you have the Kevin Smith spot, or how's yours working?
No, my
your hairline.
My hairline saying bye, guys.
I swear my widow's peak is a little bit peakier than it used to be.
I think I'd rather a widow's peak because it's just a straight line for me. But
oh, really?
As you notice, I keep it pretty tight.
My widow's peak is somehow halfway back on my head. I don't remember it going that far back before, but that's what's going on. And I also recognize that when I run my fingers through my hair, I used to have barbers tell me, you got some thick hair, we got to thin this out. And they don't tell me that anymore.
You got some thin hair, we got to put something in.
We got to get the spray out. Let's see. Count Cucula says Cecil brought up the Holocaust. This is getting salty or spicy. I don't know. I'm drunk. Queenie says, damn you, internet. Oh no, Queenie, are we losing it? I've got a green on my side. It doesn't look like we've lost. Surprisingly, it doesn't look like we've lost any. Oh, maybe she's just talking about the comments. Fucking
YouTube has just said, all right, enough of all this talk.
Yeah, I'm shutting it down. I'm going to let the conversation continue, but not the comments. Let's see. Dino said, depends who, when, and where. Not sure what he's referring to.
Sure. Probably in the context of
who
words.
Say to what
sure.
To, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Fair enough.
Sure.
Actually, that's a good question for all of you guys watching. Any of you willing to comment? How many of you say things that you wouldn't otherwise say in public to your friends? And you don't have to say what, but just how many of you do that would be considered non-PC? I'm very curious about this.
And like that's the other thing too. Like I guess this is like part of the way I approach comedy. I feel like
is that what you call what you do?
Yeah, I feel like such a slouch. Well, this is how I approach comedy. Is I really get into the psychological aspect. It's bullshit, just bullshit.
I'm bringing it back up here. The chat.
For as much as people may or may not say something, we all think things. There are things that make us all different, and whether or not there's acceptable things to say, we all generalize in some shape, or form to differentiate one another. Otherwise, it would just be, a bunch of alpha, 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 alpha. You have to separate. Like there's in your head, whether or not you think you have a I'm not a stereotypical bone in your body. I think you do. Subconsciously, you do. How do you differentiate, Chad from Lisa and Bob from Steve, and like there's something that other than their name, obviously. But when you look at the person that you're thinking of in your head, what is it that makes you remember them, or what have you? What is the thing that you associate with that person?
Well, yeah, the chat's broken. Sorry.
Yay.
That's a bummer. I tried to reload it, but it's not working. So, chat's broken, guys. That's it for that. But yeah, Queenie is too hot for TV. They shut down the thing. I don't know, man. This is it's spurred on much more of a conversation than I actually thought it would, to be honest with you. But
it's a what? One more time.
I said it spurred more of a conversation than I actually thought it would. So I'm happy about that.
I need to preface that I'm being quite candid here.
No, obviously, and
well, anybody who's watching that's unfamiliar with me, I need you to understand that I genuinely, if somebody was offended, I had no ill intent whatsoever.
Not at all. He keeps it to just N-words on his channel.
Yeah, N-words. That's what I do on Patreon. I have a stereotype shout out where for a $2 tier, I'll say whatever word you want.
Patreon shout out, nice. That's a Patreon tier. You can have CP say something that'll jeopardize his career. Got to ask for at least 5 bones on that one, CP.
Yeah, the $5 tier on the N-word credit.
Well, luckily we have Monty in the chat saying, like I said before, very interesting topic. Trust me, I'm far from offended, CP. So that's good.
Yeah, see, and
we have at least one that's okay with you.
Like that, and that tends to be the case. Like I feel really comfortable with. I mean, this is the typical "I'm not a racist" thing to say, but I have a bunch of black friends.
Oh God! Don't finish the sentence.
But like, how else am I supposed to say it? Like that. Yes, people recognize that I have no sort of ill intent.
I don't go the black friends route. I say I'm black below the waist.
You're not, though.
How do you know? CP, you're going to receive a picture later.
well, we'll bring it back to rape, and then I'll find out the hard way.
Let's just say I got to go to the store to get magnums before I go a raping.
Yeah. A raping. But yeah, that's part of it. Like Monty knows me well enough by now to know that I'm just a moron that doesn't really have a value system.
Drum Dums popped up just in time to hear a raping.
Speaking
hey,
of
welcome, Lee. Color isn't a factor. No, Lee is very true. Color is never a factor for us. I'm speaking for you, CP. I'm assuming so. Obviously, nationality isn't a factor. Your sham of a marriage is all that we need to demonstrate that.
Well, yeah, like Lee. I don't know if you're doing a drive-by or what, but I was talking about it before.
Is this a Drum Dum drive-by? Is that what's going on?
A triple D.
Drum Dum Comets drive-by?
So, I mean, for as much as I give Lee shit, Lee recognizes that I'm just having fun. I mean, Lee, if he asked me to drive down there right now for some sort of situation, I would do it. Yeah. But on the surface, if you're just watching Stream, you think, man, that guy with the hat's a fucking asshole to Lee. But it's a bit of a charade. The only difference is Lee just doesn't give it back, which is unfortunate.
It's his prerogative, though. And there's nothing wrong with maintaining that sort of, I don't know if stature is the right word, but positioning maybe is a little bit better. Like I don't know Lee might want to get down in the mud and play with us, but he manages to not, or he decides to not. And I don't know if that's, I guess we could, rather than talk about him like he's not watching right now, ask him directly, Lee, is that like a calculated decision, or is that just I just don't want to put that side out there to the audience, or do you just not have those thoughts? Are you that pure of a man?
I think Lee's a really good diplomat. I think Lee's a great dude. And to swing it back to everything else we're talking about, he doesn't mean anything bad. He appreciates everybody that hangs out, subscribes, talks to him. But I've had conversations with Lee in private that are a little more down to earth and whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can connect the dots there. But
sure,
it's like you said, it's his prerogative. I just play a little rougher, and he has carte blanche. He just chooses not to do it publicly, which that's more in line with a wider audience.
He says it's not calculated at all. That's always been me. I've been accused all my life of being too nice, and I can believe that outwardly. But I can also believe that there's a little more candid conversation going off camera.
And for as much as I love Lee, I love him more when he starts talking like the rest of us, and it's just like, see, there you go. Yeah. I knew you were one of us.
It's like just come down here with us just for a minute or two.
I'm not trying to out him or anything, but he's been getting troll comments lately, and he's finally starting to. Like, he used to be awfully civil and diplomatic and, thanks for watching. But lately, he's been telling people to go fuck themselves. And it's like, what? Good for you, Lee. That's the way you can't please 100% of the people, so why try?
That's true.
Love you, Lee. I love you.
All right, so Calculus said goodbye. Ben Grimm says it's a bad influence.
Who?
Ben Grimm, he's just referring to what we're talking about. And Monty says, you and I are similar in that way, Lee. Lee says, love you guys, haha. So, yeah, I mean, we're very candid, and who knows, maybe we'd be growing by 1,000 subscribers a month or more if we didn't do streams like this very one. But
right, you know what, and that's...
But I'm not saying that's the case. Lee, look.
No, Lee puts a lot. Listen,
yeah,
Lee works really hard at
I'm not
his
trying to belittle what he's doing to gain his subscribers. He and Cody put in a lot of work, and they deserve every subscriber they get. I'm not trying to say that at all. Doing 2 episodes, 3 episodes a week, gotta be tough. Says the guy making 14. Anyway,
well, he's got some production value there.
Fuck off, bitch. Actually, I've been working all day on my I mean, I can add zip sound effects and footage too if I want to deal with the copyright.
Well, anyway, then do it.
I don't want to deal with the copyright. That's why I never do, because even people like Cody are saying, I'm not sure I'm going to do clips going forward because the copyright's such a bitch. I arrived at that conclusion 2 years ago.
Dude, see that's where, like, the three of you, Cody and Lee, are doing the YouTube thing and playing it well. My thing is, I have a vision in my head with the videos and the things that I want to do. And if I want to use a fucking Beatles song, I'm going to use a Beatles song. Yeah. I don't want to sacrifice my artistic vision for the sake of 48 cents. But granted, I'm a little nobody. I don't have 20K plus subscribers. So maybe if it was affecting me, $50 a shot, maybe.
I think we are being affected, and I do plan to scale back, probably in the February time. But honestly, there's just been so much content. That's why I still do 2 a day. But it's
quality, not quantity. Quality.
Whatever. I mean, people want to know our opinions, and they think they like to listen to us while they're they listen to us while doing their work. We get comments like that all the time.
Oh yeah, shit, I should do that. See, that's my thing. I'm like, dude, who the fuck cares? I'm nobody. You're nobody.
We get those comments. That's the thing. We have a lot of very regulars. Yes, we don't have thousands of views per video like we should, like they do. But if I drop back to 2 a week, I could. But I don't like to do that. I consume too much, and I can't justify consuming what I consume unless I'm making content out of it. And I can't make content. I can't make the high production content that everyone else is making as often as we are making content.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like I've had this idea for a couple of months now because I cannot get Emily into it. Emily hates editing. I love editing. Emily, the shit that she does, she full on production, the things that she does with her videos, the fucking multiple characters and makeup jobs, and I keep telling her, I'm like, do everything you're doing, let me edit, and let's get a little bit, like I would literally like let my channel just take a back seat for I don't know however. Like I had this idea of just having like a YouTube house where a bunch of YouTubers live together and
an incubator.
Certain people have certain jobs, like all right, I don't know.
You're the fastest high quality editor, so you do that.
right like and I would have fun with it too. Like I there's times where I see stuff and it's just like another 30 seconds you could have made that this. And
well, and I do demonstrate every now and again that I can do that. Obviously, like I mentioned to you in a private chat earlier,
that
my
PETA
Venom
video
animation
was pretty fucking funny.
The PETA video was fun. The Venom animation is good, and I actually just laid out everything for. We're doing like 4 best of 2017 or 2018 and one looking forward to 2019 video. And I'm actually doing a top 5 scariest moments top 5 scariest moments in horror, but I'm actually doing it and using clips, and I did production bringing up a number 1 and the title of it and all this shit. So I'm doing that, and I'm going to see how that performs. And if it does well enough, if it makes it worth it, then I'll continue to do those. But I'm showing clips from 5 different movies, so I'm sure it's going to get claimed, like, immediately. So I'm not going to get anything for it. But it's that balance. It's like, do I want to grow the audience, or do I want to actually make money from what we're doing? And it's a tough balance. I waited until we were at, like, 15,000 subscribers before I even monetized the channel. Some people are doing it at 500. It's like, bro, if you're monetizing your channel at 500 subscribers, you're putting a barrier to entry for some people. And I just didn't want to do that. And so, now we have it, but at the same time, it's such a thing because I get it. And I get that quality content brings people, but at the same time, I have so much I want to talk about. It's rough. It's a big discussion on the channel right now. You stepped in it.
Well, I mean... Yeah.
Dino just made me laugh. I'm just saying Halloween 2018.
Listen.
You're not right, Dino.
the fish were chomping at the bit for that one. Just leave that line in the water and just have it.
Oh, look at that. So Lee says, actually, for my last top 10 horror vid, I researched which companies claim your monetization and didn't use clips for 2 of my picks. I mean, that's one thing you can do, but aren't you sacrificing your vision at that point? Like, to speak to what you were saying earlier, CP?
No. See, now Lee's a different beast than you or I. Lee he's close, if not ready. He's close to being a YouTuber for. I mean, shit. It's at least. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty close to being a part-timer. Like if he were to have a part-time job and do YouTube, 30 hours a week, I think it's beneficial. I think the money is there, so he has to be. I mean, shit. If he were to go forward and say let's legit. I'm gonna be a professional YouTuber. He's got to think about shit like that. So I can't fault him at all for doing stuff like that.
No, I'm just
no. I didn't imply that you were. What I guess the difference with I don't want to worry about that shit, especially with something like Patreon. Like I really have to rework my Patreon, where my thing is, listen, I'm not going to hold back. I'll use music that I want to. I'll use video that I want to. But if you're enjoying it, you got to let me know somehow. Or does it not make a difference? Because if there's something like Patreon where people are like, you know what, this guy's content is great. and unfortunately, not enough people know how fucked up the situation is with YouTube. So, there's people out there that, just want to see somebody talk. There's some people that want some flash and video clips and whatever. And I tend to lean into the flash and if it's going to cost me a claim, I don't mind it. But again, it's not, there's certain videos that, like my list that I have coming up, my countdown list, it maybe gets, it's all the movies I've seen in 2018. I count down worst to best, 100 movies. If I get 2,000 views total, that's good. But I put a lot of production into something like that. But if it were doing something like 50,000 views, maybe I wouldn't use certain clips and certain music and stuff like that. It's a lot easier to talk about something if it's not affecting you in a large fashion. But Lee is certainly affected. Like that's and another reason is you're talking about, like, he's what, 20, I think he's like 23, 24. He's up there now. That's 20,000 people.
Yeah, he just crossed 23. Let's not let him pass us just yet.
Okay, us.
I'm saying us as in the horror show movie.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah,
of all of you.
Him, Cody, and I are probably going to be crossing about 25 right about the same time, if everything holds up. So.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What is that fucking face?
Those two move fast. They
do. They do.
All right. I forgot what I was saying now. Shit. What was the last thing I said?
I stopped listening a while ago.
Yeah, me too.
No.
Go
ahead.
If it's close enough to make a difference, and somebody like that, somebody like any of you guys, 20,000 potential, like anything for a business, wouldn't you want that assistance without doing any work? If I'm Joe Apple Pie Store and somebody with 10,000 viewers is going to talk about me and maybe use a clip or something or a picture from my fucking website, why on earth would I want to claim that? People pay to advertise, and these people are trying to, make money off of the fact that they're essentially getting more attention. Now, I get it. Like, when somebody gets a review that their movie's getting shit on, that's one thing. They don't want negative attention. But if I had somebody with 20,000 viewers talking about my stand-up tour, and they use clips of me, I'd be like, hey, listen, man, thanks.
Well, I mean, the problem is YouTube is so, full of people that talk about stuff that, 20,000 isn't that impressive. It is to some people when you're getting regular views, so that's why.
What my point is, listen, I'm Universal. Universal is one of the most notorious fucking companies for yanking shit down. I'm Universal. I'm making my fucking Minions movie no matter what. I'm not paying any extra out. But if somebody wants to talk about somebody with 1,000 viewers wants to talk about my movie and show it off, that's guerrilla advertising, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. And Lee does make a good point. He says Patreon is a lifesaver. It's an interesting factor because quality is important when you have almost 100 Patreon supporters. You want to give them a good product, so you give up monetization when it's necessary. So that I understand. 100 Patreon supporters can be way more than what YouTube pays you at our level. We only have like 13 or something like that. So I can't speak to that.
13 patrons?
Yeah, but or maybe 15, 20. I don't know. We're not that.
We only have like 60, 80. Keep.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going up. No, I mean it's. I believe it might actually be just under 20 at this point.
All right, who cares?
It's nothing. I'm saying it's nothing compared to that. When you have that many, yes, You can sacrifice with the content. But the other thing is we've pigeonholed ourselves because now we have audience members that are like, no, don't change it. Keep the 2 episodes a day. I like having this much content. But honestly, we got to do what's good for the channel, not what's good for just a few of the viewers.
Well, dude, that's where something as beautiful as Patreon comes in. Listen, you know, with you doing 2 videos a day, well, I'll just use it as an example. You know, how much is that time worth to you to do those 2 videos? If you were to say, listen, we're gonna chop down to blank. If you'd like us to maintain this schedule, this time doing this stuff is worth to me. And if somebody wants it that bad and is willing to pay for it, listen, if you were to say, all right, so the time it takes for me to do 2 videos on Monday is worth about $300 to me. If somebody said, please don't stop, here's $300, isn't that just as good?
Well, we were thinking about doing that where we just provide the 2nd episode a day to the patrons. And, you know, that way the people that want it can pay for it, and the people that don't aren't stuck seeing it in their feed. But what I'm curious about is, does putting unlisted videos still factor into the YouTube algorithm? That's what I'm curious about.
What do you mean the algorithm?
Well, like, does it say if it's monetized? Unlisted, it's still... Well, no, it's not that it's going to be monetized, but that if it's unlisted, is it still technically, quote-unquote, available? And since there's only, like, 15 to 20 patrons and only, like, 5 watch something on the Patreon, is that showing that only 5 people are watching this video that I've made public? Or is it not showing that video is public? Like, that's what I don't know about YouTube.
If it's unlisted, it's unlisted.
It's not counted in the YouTube algorithm. We're sure of that.
What algorithm are you referring? Wait a minute.
Well, the algorithm that either recommends you or it doesn't, based on how your channel's performing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So if I have one public episode and one unlisted episode that only gets like 5 views, is that unlisted episode going to drag the channel down or not? Like, that's what I don't know about. Otherwise, if not, then we're going to start doing that in February, where the 2nd episode will just be the Patreon episode, and we'll go 1 a day for a little while, and maybe even less if I want to start, you know, putting more into it. But then I come up against, how do I decide what horror movie I decide to put effort into and which ones I don't? And then, like, why am I making that arbitrary decision? Just based on what, like, viewers, or like based on I don't know.
There's a certain point where, again, I'll say it again, it becomes capitalism. It becomes work. It becomes, I don't want to do this. Listen, but if you really want me to talk about Ice Cream Truck, he donate whatever, you know, amount, whatever numeric value it would take for me to watch it, edit, shoot, you know, what's that worth to me? It's worth, you know, $90. If you want to, you know, be a patron for $90 to watch me, you know, do an Ice Cream Truck review, then all right.
Yeah.
Reluctantly, I'll do it. I mean, it's work.
I get it. I don't want to make this, let's help Cecil figure this out. I'm just going through what I've been having on my mind recently. That's all.
Yeah. And who the fuck am I to talk about any of this, by the way? Because shit, if I get 500 views, I'm like, yes.
Plus, yes. I'm nowhere near as sexy as Lee or Cody either, so I've got that working against me. Mm-hmm. I'm about 100 pounds away from that, so I can't rely on that. Well,
I mean, like, not to sound snobby or anything, like, I like having differing opinions and having fun and saying, you know, how could you think something like that? And, you know, getting to the bottom of, you know, where are you and where am I and where is this? Lee is popular enough where people, like, are fucking sheep. Mm-hmm. And whatever he says, they're all about it. And to me, that's scary. Like, I don't want it to make, I'm trying to make this, I don't want this to sound like I'm disparaging Lee. But, like, have your own opinions. Like, you could be a fan of a person. and have a differing opinion. You don't have like just. I mean, I can't tell you how many times he does stream, and I'm basically the chat bitch, and people are just saying just random anything to get attention. And it's just like, dude, just be real. Mm-hmm. Like I can't tell how many times people just say, "Oh, Lee, Halloween 6 is my favorite movie." Like, oh, that's great. Like, what? How does that? I don't know. Like he's at a point where it's like I don't know. Like that type of celebrity scares me. Like I don't want mindless people. Maybe like I don't know what am I talking about? I get
it, but I don't like. It's not that I don't mind. Fans are fans. You know, if they like the channel, they like the channel, and that's why I make it. You know, that's the whole reason. It is, but the other thing is the reason we do so many episodes is because it is my outlet. Like this is my
when I'm not to tell me
when I'm not dealing with my own life and bullshit. This is. Some people look at this as work. I look at this as my kind of escape. So the 2 or 3 days a week that I'm spending putting together all those episodes, we film on Sunday, generally like 14 to 15 episodes, and then I edit those Monday and Tuesday and spread them out for the week, and then I'm good. And I'm done until Sunday again, and then the cycle repeats. But we also have a lot of people that like the regular trailer reactions, and I want to probably go down to just doing the real big important ones, but it's like, I don't know, the people that say they just do this for fun, I get it, and I guess I believe them for the most part, but why are you doing it why are you doing it in such a public space if this is all you want to do? Just make videos and watch them later. Like
it's a little bit different for me. I'm a sort of a public
kind of
sort
a big
of
deal.
very I didn't say that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, no, I guess that like this is my excuse for why I don't go full bore with YouTube, because there's like it's fun to me. I see stuff like you guys doing stuff that you think, you know, is part of a trending situation, and you know, everybody's doing
us trailer reactions over 8,000 views.
I was just gonna say the Us trailer. Every like I was away for the last 3 or 4 days, and you know, got back to Us trailer reaction. It's just like, man, guys, like I'm gonna guess and say at least one person was just not wanting to do that. Like I can't imagine doing something just for the sake of trend.
Yeah.
But that's me. Like,
well, I didn't do it for trend as much as I really liked Get Out. I'm very curious. I was at the computer.
Well, all right,
you know
so
what I mean?
bad example. All right, let's just say so. Cam was a big thing for the fucking month that it came out. Everybody was talking about Cam, and it was just like, guys, really? Why? Like there's got like, you know, why be a slave to the trend?
Yeah.
And there are these trends and peaks and valleys, and you know, trailer reactions were a really big thing. Now these fucking ending explain videos
they're all over the place. And it's not even just the ending, it's just call it movie explained.
Dude,
especially found flicks, because they do the whole fucking movie.
Somebody did a fucking trailer explain video, and it's like, dude, that director has nothing to do with that trailer. How are you explaining what the fuck the intent of that trailer is? Get the fuck out of here, man.
I do breakdowns, but I don't pretend to know intent and shit like that. No.
But dude, like, but who am I? Like 500,000 views. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's a really, you see, Lee should be here because this would be an interesting debate, because
he's on here. He's still talking. Oh, you mean on actual video?
Like, yeah, get like actually in here.
Hey, Lee, if you want to jump in, I can bring you in. He says, "Damn, Cecil, 15 episodes recorded in a day. Respect, man. I'm burnt out after 3 or 4 recordings. Yeah, I am too."
He has better production value, though.
But no, the reason why is because it's usually like 7 trailer reactions to cover the week, And then the problem is I have 3 different people that do the show with me. So I have Marcia, Susie, and Fuego, and they all arrive at different times. And so the only person working through all of Sunday is me. So Susie will arrive, I'll do a few things with her. Marshall will arrive, I'll do a few things with her. Fuego will arrive, I'll do a few things with him. So that's how it adds up. They don't feel it as much as I do, but that's how it goes, and that's sort of the bed I've made for myself. You know, it is what it is. Cody's back. Are you still talking?
Well, Cody might. I don't know if he's free or not.
Dude, I'll bring them both in. I've got comments that don't work right now, so I've got room.
Yeah, because Cody could probably talk about this just as either or both. Shit.
Yeah, Cody and Lee, if you guys want to Skype in, let me know, and we'll get you set up here. There's room.
Because I mean, I'm nobody to talk about this. Like I'm the
Lee's
guy.
daughter hijacked his room.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, everybody's. It's family time. It's the holiday.
Use your phone, bruh.
What was it? Yeah, like
you're gonna have to rename the stream now. Says Dino. I'm gonna have to call it Lee's stream, something like that. He said Cody says he can't tonight, but he'd love to join in a later episode. Okay, we could do that.
Yeah, you could probably table this discussion because it's interesting that, you know, what's the point where
maybe we should, yeah, just table it and bring them both in.
What's the where's the point where it's less about, you know, doing something you love and more about keeping up with something and or doing something for a fiduciary interest. And I mean like
night, Monty. Appreciate your showing up, brother.
Good night, Monty. There's a certain point where, like, yeah, I don't. It's a lot easier for me to say, you know what, I don't want to do blank video, blank. I stopped doing reviews because I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I stopped going to screeners. Well, I got slapped in the hand. That probably didn't help.
Did you really by the company?
Yeah, I broke. I broke embargo.
Yeah. I did that by accident with my escape room review.
It wasn't really.
Yeah, because I'm not supposed to put that up until January 3rd, and I had it up like a month and a half ago.
Right.
Notice it hasn't been up in a while.
Yeah, because they're trickling screeners out here for that, which I think you saw. We could have saw that the same night we saw Vice, but we went to see Vice instead, and I didn't put a review up, and you know. It shows how much the companies are keeping track of me because they're still sending me screeners and I'm not putting reviews up.
Here, sir, just enjoy the movies on us.
I don't know. So it's different for me to say something like that. Like if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. Mm-hmm. I don't feel that I have this debt to, you know, a myriad of people. You guys have a bit of a different situation where it's just like, well, fuck, they're going to want me to do this. And whether or not you want to do it, that factors in. And I guess that frightens me a bit. Like I would hate to have to do something just for the sake of.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but that's where we're a little bit different. To me, I don't look at it. I look at having to do. I love going to movies and I love coming back and talking about them. I really do.
Me too, absolutely.
But I don't love having to sit down and grab clips and do that bullshit over and over and over again.
Dude, we got a spare room. Come out here, live here, and we'll be the YouTube house.
It's for real, dude. The YouTube incubator. You know, like those people that watch Silicon Valley will know what I'm talking about.
Well, like it's the same thing with Emily. Emily, we're very different. I like kind of, you know, having bullet point more often than not. I just like, you know, walking home from the theater. Let's talk about it. She likes preparing and having, you know, points that you know she wants to talk about, and I don't want to say scripted, but you know she really wants to make sure she gets to things that she wants to say. Where I'm a bit more like fucking whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's a little hard when we do stuff like that, and you know shit. if you were here or I were there, I'll edit the video. Fuck.
That'd be awesome. Queenie said she's moving in. If so.
Oh yeah. We got a 6-bedroom Casa de YouTube, man.
I've thought about that. Honestly, I thought about if I won the lottery, I would just buy like I would buy a cul-de-sac worth of houses, and just like make one the production house, and just have people sort of divvy up the others. Yeah, so just going back to the comments real quick. Dino said I would come on, but I would likely say the wrong things.
Oh,
Dino has a very interesting opinion on a lot of stuff. He lamented earlier that he can't talk crap about the icons because he gets a lot of shrapnel for it.
Which Dino? See, that's Dino. Dino's my partner in crime on Mondays. Dino is just as fun loving. That's unfortunate. He's one of the sweeter guys on YouTube. I mean, very very supportive. If you're in the horror community, you have to know who Dino is. It's really strange that's the case. But I don't know.
I mean, he has very specific opinions, and they're all regarding older movies.
Well, I mean,
although he did like a newer movie, he finally liked a newer movie, and of course, it's fucking It Follows, which is awful. But
Cecil. Die in a
dude! It Follows is horrible.
Forest fire.
It's missing a third act. It's terrible, but okay.
It's missing a third act.
Yep.
Stop it.
Yep, missing a third act. Drum Dum says Emily has super tight production. I agree, but if I had to get that tight of production, that it takes me 3 months to do something, I'm okay with not having that tight of production.
What Emily pre-production is fucking astonishing. I would, which you know what, she's the creator of her content, and that's all well and good. My thing is let me do the post. You know, she gets so exhausted with it because you know it's like you said, it's her Exorcist review, which we have behind the scenes shit. It took her 3.5 months. From watching it to scripting it to filming it to makeuping it to editing it, and I'm just like, let me edit. You can have Final Cut. Just let me put it together.
Yeah.
But you when you're creative, you want your hands in all of it. But
also, Cody says I have a whole box of artillery for that debate, so we need to get that stream on us for it. Well, it's the YouTube and what you do and why and all that stuff. That sort of discussion we were having.
Yeah, and Cody's so for as much as I say Lee is perfectly diplomatic, which by the way lately he's starting to come around with the trolls. Cody is very. I mean, I don't think there's anything ingenuine about Cody at all. If he doesn't like something, you're going to hear it. Like, and that I admire that from Cody. Regardless of, I mean, shit, he's the same now as he was when he had 1,000 subscribers. And like, shit, man, more power to you.
I agree. He's one guy, and this isn't a knock against anyone else. This is just I've noticed that Lee has had to make some changes as his popularity has grown. Cody, I haven't noticed those changes or those kinds of changes, and this is not a knock on either one of them. They both do their thing, and they do it very well, but yeah, it's just a difference between the two. Cody says, I go freeform. I walk in, turn on the camera, and talk out my ass for 25 minutes. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Cody, while I believe that to an extent, your intros take more thought than just walking onto camera and turning it on. So forgive me, but that's not 100% true. Your intros take more thought than that. But
and here I am. I'm hearing everything you guys are saying. I'm just like, man, you guys do all that shit. Just give me the footage. Let me edit it. Oh, okay.
If you want, I'll Dropbox you because Lord knows I could use the help. And then Drum Dum says, I always write out talking points, but I've went in not needing them for quite a few times. Yeah. Here's why I do our reviews the way we do them. Since we don't use clips, that's why I do overall thoughts, story, acting, effects, music, production value. I have all of that stuff because that helps me remember to talk about every aspect of the movie, and I won't go in and just say I want to mention this, and this, but oh, I forgot something. If I hit those categories, that generally means I'm not going to forget to talk about anything. That's why we end up doing it that way. But let's see. Quinn Granfer says there another boogeyman. However, almost stopped when you said It Follows was shit. Sorry, that's my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I do not agree with that. I think It Follows is. I think It Follows might be responsible for the current landscape of like really good independent horror.
I disagree.
All right, so give me a movie that came out before
Turbo
It
Kid.
Follows. That was after It Follows.
No,
that was 2015.
Turbo Kid was before. Turbo Kid was before It Follows.
So you think Turbo Kid is the reason we have stuff like Hereditary?
No, but I don't think It Follows is either.
I do.
By any stretch.
I do.
No fucking way. You cannot link It Follows to Hereditary. No fucking way.
I'm not saying that they're correlated. I'm saying because of what It Follows did for mainstream independent horror, we have stuff like Hereditary. What else was big but sort of independent? A Quiet Place technically, I think, was independent technically, even though Paramount distributed it.
I think you're giving too much credit to It Follows. I think Babadook was just as instrumental in popularizing a smaller sort of version of things. I'm trying to see the Turbo Kid release date versus It Follows.
Was like this. It Follows kind of took everything that it was like slashers, but.
See, yeah, we saw Turbo Kid
artistic wink
at a film festival before It Follows came out. So,
all right, but when did the world see either?
Well, technically, the world saw Turbo Kid when it premiered at the film festival.
But Turbo Kid didn't get a theatrical release. I'm talking about fucking Johnny Appleseed who lives in Wichita and can only see.
I don't like Johnny.
Well, yeah. Johnny's taste usually tends to be a little fishy.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I'm not going to win any arguments on It Follows with Lee in the chat because fucking he adores that movie. So
it is. Who knows what the correlation with something like It Follows and the fact that Halloween got.
Well, of course, people talk about It Follows more than Turbo Kid, Lee. It was released widely. But I'm saying that it
had a bigger impact.
It didn't develop an entire like subgenre of movies. You realize that movies came out this year had been started in pre-production in 2015, right? Like there were movies that came out that you might say were influenced by those that were already in production before those actually came out. You do realize this?
All right, Get Out's another one that's
2017. You're telling me that was influenced by something in 2015 when the production lasts for 2 to 3 years on a film?
Yeah, because they'll greenlight shit. They're like, whoa, with this fucking It Follows thing, that we were onto something here.
Disagree.
I want a list of the A24 horror movies, and
no, okay. Just to clarify, I didn't say Turbo Kid started the trend. I said Turbo Kid was in on that trend before It Follows came out.
See, Turbo Kid, Turbo Kid's like a different road altogether. Turbo Kid, I would lump that in with like The Guest. What's that other movie that's kind of like Turbo Kid but isn't? Motherfucker! There's that internet movie that was the fucking time traveling. What the fuck's the name of that movie? The David Hasselhoff music video.
Oh, Kung Fury.
Yeah, Kung Fury. I would lump like that little offshoot genre.
Turbo Kid was a much better story. Kung Fury was a short film made into a half-hour piece of shit. Sure,
but I think those are more in the same category than It Follows.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
what stemmed from that. I mean,
they're both big '80s nostalgia.
Sure. And to a lesser degree, I would put The Guest in there. But something like The Babadook, Hereditary, I think they all have however thin, I think they all connect somehow to It Follows and what happened with that. And that was what's this face you're making? What?
The Babadook was 2014.
And It Follows was 2014.
No, It Follows was 2015.
Was it?
Yeah. March 2015. So no, the Babadook was not influenced by It Follows. You guys are giving way too much credit to It Follows. Stop it! Stop it now!
If I said influence, I didn't mean. I meant in the same little sub. You called it a subgenre. It's Turbo Kid and Guest and that other Kung Fury. They're in their own little thing. It Follows, Babadook, Get Out, Hereditary. They're all like this kind of. Listen, we're making a horror movie, but we're actually making a film here too. It's not just some fucking corn syrup and tits. No tits and hits. We got a story here, kids.
I'm obviously not going to win this fucking It Follows argument on my own goddamn channel, but what am I going to do? I don't like. Honestly, I watched it once in the theater. I haven't watched it since, so maybe I need to do the old Drum Dums revisited and see what happens. Maybe I'll love it. Dude,
Drum Dums says he's got movies that he's come around after 3 times. So yeah.
So maybe that's in order.
All right. So you can't appreciate the fact that It Follows like it.
I appreciate that it turned a lot of people on to that sort of style. I just don't say that it was the originator of that style.
I'm not saying originator. I'm just saying that it sparked something that was like, you know what, maybe we could do this. Because it wasn't.
I think people were coming around to it before It Follows, though. Yeah. The Babadook was a year beforehand, and that I think the Babadook is more responsible for Get Out than It Follows would be responsible for Get Out.
Okay.
I mean, that's we're talking opinions here, so
yeah, sure. And this is what I was talking about before. None of us are right. Who the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. It's all arbitrary. Fuck it. All right, guys. Well, I think this is probably as good a place to end it at 2 hours and 20 minutes.
All this comedy talk that we've been having.
Yeah, really. Well, it went off the rails. That's fine.
You're gonna have to call it the fucking
the deep dive or some shit.
The whatever the fuck stream.
The dark side of horror stream or something. I don't know. All I know is I have to piss like a racehorse, so I am going to go ahead and call this.
Oh, wait.
What? Oh, no.
What? Oh, did you call it?
No, go ahead. Nope, go ahead. What's up?
Is somebody else, if you can get somebody else in here and you can go pee.
Yeah, I don't know. Dave!
We could still go.
Dave!
Well, just go pee and I'll
you talk to
go
the audience.
Pee and I'll
Fucking
talk.
God
here,
sakes.
I haven't seen
Holy
the chat.
Crap.
Queenie left. Bye, Queenie. You're probably gone now. I definitely disagree with Turbo Kid. People talk about It Follows much more than Turbo Kid. Yep. Oh, I think he brought that up before. You said Turbo Kid started the trend. No, sir. I love It Follows influenced a lot of what I've seen. And I love It Follows. See? Kung Fury is a shit. Knock less? Okay. Knock ellipsis less. What the fuck? So the 2015 Turbo Kid. Yeah, that was probably. Hashtag poor Cecil. What? He's the one bringing out these ridiculous opinions. I definitely see what CP is driving at with It Follows. IF. Lee, I think we actually talked about it with Brian on his channel. It might have been one of the first commentaries we did on his channel, where there's just something about it that, in a time. I'm trying to think of the popular stuff that was out around that, popular for horror's sake. I mean, shit, Lee. Here's a promotion for something we've done. When we first started in 2015, when It Follows came out, we were like, horror needs to be in the forefront again, and not to give ourselves credit, but it is kind of bigger now. And I'm not associating that with our video series, Horror Needs a Hero, if you want to check it out. But something like It Follows, I think triggered something with either audiences, production companies, distributors. They saw that you can have a horror type story and still have like a good film. I'm trying to think of like the stuff that was out at that time, like maybe whatever Paranormal Activity. Like Cecil, do you know what kind of popular shit horror was out around 13, 14, 15?
Off the top of my head, no.
Yeah, like Conjuring was what, 14?
No, that was 13. Insidious
13.
2 was 13. World War Z, Oculus, Mama, The Evil Dead remake, The Purge, Texas Chainsaw, Warm Bodies, VHS 2, Curse of Chucky. It was a big resurgence, actually, 2013, apparently.
Curse of Chucky was straight to DVD.
Yeah. Odd Thomas, Afflicted, Contracted, The Carrie remake, Green Inferno, The Den, Horns.
Carrie remake.
Yeah. See, Wolf Creek 2, Last Exorcism 2, All Hallows Eve, the origin of everyone's
You're not
favorite.
blowing my skirt up with these.
Well, I'm just saying it was there was horror then that was making its round. The Host.
It was horror, but it wasn't like what it is now. Like we had four like legit horror movies, like good movies that happened to be in the horror category. I can't tell you the last time I could have genuinely said, you know what, this is a good film, like 3 or 4 times in 1 year about a horror movie.
Oh no! See, now I have a site that says It Follows was 2014, not 2015. Either way, so was the Babadook, so you can't say that it influenced it.
All right, so influence perhaps is the wrong word, but perhaps.
But Creep also came out. That was a new sort of thing that they were doing. That one's done really well.
Creep I haven't seen.
Creep is amazing. Both 1 and 2 are great. Housebound is great. Let's see.
See, and like there's these movies that I think are in this nether realm and it's a crying shame. Like something like The Collector. The Collector the collection got kind of out there. I only saw them recently. I saw both of them last year or the year before. I think if something like that came out now, you'd have a new franchise.
Well, I see, and I feel the same way about the Collector, and the Collection as I do about the Laid to Rest movies, which Cody and I are going to be doing hopefully in the near future.
Not familiar.
They're really good. The Chrome Skull movies. Again, the second one gets a little silly, but it's some of the best gore that I've seen in horror movies of the 2000s and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I just really didn't like It Follows, and I don't like giving it as much credit as everyone seems to give it. I would give more credit to the Babadook than I would give to It Follows.
Yeah, and yeah, they're different. They're different types of movies. That like one is, I mean, I all right. So I'll put Hereditary in the same category. I'd put Hereditary more in the Babadook category than I would in the It Follows category. If that helps you sleep at night tonight.
And then The Witch was 2015, so that
The Witch that was some.
But that's not influenced by It Follows. That's just a year later. That was already done.
You keep using that influenced word. I'm just saying, set off this spark where it was just like.
But that's what I'm saying. It didn't. These movies were already in production before it came out. So how could it have set off the spark when they were already being made?
No, not already being made, but getting better distribution.
Well, that's splitting hairs.
Is it?
Yes.
No. So Curse of Chucky goes straight to fucking DVD.
That's Don Mancini. That's not The Witch. That's not.
That's a franchise. It's a fucking franchise icon. Which, by the way,
franchise icon that failed horrendously in seed.
Well, that's like listen.
Eager to be revisited.
Well, and Curse bought it back. Like I don't understand.
Did it?
Like
because Cult didn't get a theatrical release.
Well, yeah. Listen, what I'm trying to say is like, why not release what? If you had to gamble, just hearing anything, if you had to put money into something, you're a distributor, and you had to put $1 million
excuse me
into a new Chucky movie or a fucking 1800s. How do you describe the witch?
I don't know. I hated it too.
With really nobody in it. What are you putting your money into? What are you saying? You know what? I think Americans are going to go and watch this in the movie theater.
I don't know, but it had just the same polarizing effect that It Follows did, though. The Witch. The same polarizing effect, the same crazy popularity.
But that's helping my argument. My point is, because of something like It Follows, The Witch got a theatrical release. Where, like, I don't know.
But you can't draw that comparison. You're making a leap there.
I'm taking a step. I don't know if I'm making a leap.
You are. You're picking one movie from 2014 and saying that it not influenced, but was the starting point for a bunch of other movies that were already in production. I just don't get that. I don't agree with that. We're going in circles anyway.
All right. So you know what? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're in the middle of making a cake. You're making a kiwi cake, and I decide to make mango pie, and suddenly people like mango pie, and you're getting a phone call about your kiwi cake, which you made before I made my mango pie. You don't think the fact that because people love this is an awful analogy, but
100%, because there's probably 300 other pies on the shelf.
Right, but at least you don't think that there's a little bit of, well, wait a minute. All right, so this pie here, something happened here. What else do we got here? What can we choose from? I'm not talking about like production. I'm not talking about like, you know what, let's greenlight this. I'm talking about buy that, we're going to put that in theaters. Distribution isn't production. Megan Friels Johnston scolded me on that quite harshly.
Dino says rename the stream Cecil Hates It Follows 2014
/2015.
People are agreeing apparently. Again, I lose on my own channel. What am I going to do?
All right. You know what? It Follows is dog shit.
I mean, I have an opinion, but I can't defend it without drowning in other people's opinions. So
who's nobody's opinion's right, Cecil. I'm serious. I'm not any more right than you are. I just have my opinion.
You know that it doesn't necessarily feel that way when you're in a situation that I'm in right now.
Oh no, I understand. I can empathize with your current plight, but you know it happens. It just happens. That's what makes this fun. Just take it on the chin. Listen, if you don't like it, don't come out and say, yeah, it sucked. This is shit. Oh, and also, by the way, The Witch, go fuck yourself.
Well, what can I say? Those are my opinions. At least my opinions haven't changed. You know what I mean? Like, I stick to my guns. I don't, like... You talk about people, like, just kowtowing to trends. I'll look at stuff. I'll look at trailers that come out, but I'm not going to kowtow and say, oh, this movie's great just because everyone's shitting on me for not liking it. You know what I mean?
Shitting on you? Really?
Okay. I mean, yeah. It's
Cecil, come on. We just talked about being offended for the first 2 hours.
No, I understand. Okay, relax. I'm not, like, actually upset. I'm just saying that's what it can feel like. And that's, you know, when you're in the minority and... you know, trying to justify it can be rough sometimes, but look, it doesn't change my opinion. I'm not a fan of those movies. So, and
in the end, what the fuck? So say you're in a group of 10 people, and you're the one person who has a different opinion about something. So what? Like what? You know how you feel. What are those 9 people's? No,
I get it, but it never feels great to be the one singled out. But I'm not. Again, I'm not.
I agree. I agree. But sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to.
Sometimes it can be.
Yeah. Sometimes it sucks. But you know, at the same time, in the end, nobody's opinion means shit.
Again, if I had watched it within the last 4 years, I might be able to more accurately articulate why I don't like it. But I'm basing it, you know, on my feelings from what I think I remember from 4 years ago.
Right. I guess from a mathematics, a business sense, I think there's something to be pointed at with It Follows or the that opening surge of A24 movies that just, you know, people took more chances since 24. So I'll just say, I won't say a movie. It seems as if in 2014, production companies, distributors seem to take a couple more chances putting stuff in theaters, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of them. I wish more would, because honestly, the 75 or so. By the way, how did you get to 100 horror movies when I only got to like 75 from 2018?
No.
Oh, just 100 movies.
I'm not a horror channel.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
100 movies flat, and which, by the way, it sucks because I heard that, what the fuck is that Sandra Bullock movie?
Bird Box.
Bird Box. I heard it's pretty good, and
Nope.
Oh, it's not. All right, see.
Well, again, as a person that likes to see the creature, I didn't like it because I'm very tempted to do a Bird Box versus A Quiet Place video, but you know that would entail some actual work and production. So, but it really, I want to just boil it down to seeing it versus not seeing it. That's what it comes down to, and I've always been I want to see it kind of guy. It doesn't scare me at all if I can't see it. Like it. If you're the point I made in the review, which just went live this morning, was if I am trying to put myself in these people's position and get scared because their lives are in danger, but I don't know. The point of the movie is those that look at the creatures see something so horrible that it makes them kill themselves. When you don't show the audience what that horrible is, there's no impact for me. There's nothing to be scared of. What they see is making them kill themselves. Okay, that's just The Happening over again. And The Happening didn't scare me the first time. It was dog shit. The acting is much better in Bird Box, but the way they set it up structurally is terrible, because it starts off with her and two kids getting into a boat to go down to a river. This is not a spoiler. It starts this way.
Yeah, I would like to see it. So.
It starts this way. And then it flashes back to when things happen and this group that she meets up with. So the problem is the group isn't there at the beginning, and the group is there in the beginning of the flashback, which they do throughout the rest of the movie. And it's like, well, there's no investment because none of these people are around where we're eventually going to get. So why do I care? You know what I mean? Like it, and you'll notice that at the very first minute of the movie. So if you're like me, that'll bother you. But a lot of people, that didn't bother them. So maybe I just get bothered by shit that doesn't bother people in some movies. I don't know.
What about the whole ambiguity? Listen, I don't even know what I'm talking about here. But the horror for the audience in whatever your worst fear would be.
And here was my retort to that was, if I'm
Which, by the way, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
No, but my retort to it is this: if I am busy watching the movie, I don't have time to process and really think about what would be my worst nightmare while the movie is requiring me to focus my attention on what's going on screen.
But what about, not even if it's like a doggy bag movie where you're like, you know, you watch the movie, you took it for what it was, and you know, on the drive home or something like that, you're like, man, I wonder what it looked like. I bet this or whatever.
Nope, it doesn't do it for me, because the time has passed. Everything's been resolved. We know how it ended. There's nothing scary anymore about it to me. It's just the way I've always been. I've always been, show me what's... if I wanted to think about what's scary, I'd read a book. If I want to see what's scary, I'm going to watch a goddamn movie. Like, don't give me a book in movie form. Show me. The movies, show, don't tell. That is the very definition of telling and not showing. They're telling you, no. They're telling you, you're supposed to make what's scary in this movie. I don't need to do it. You do it. And it's like, no, it's not my job to make your shit scary. That's the way I look at it. It's not my job to do that. Like, I'll read a book if I want to make my own world in my head. I am watching what you are presenting to me. So for you to require me to come up with some scary image while you're doing your thing and not providing that, then pay me to watch your movie.
I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, maybe I need to watch this just to have this argument, or excuse me, not even an argument, just a debate.
Discussion, yeah, debate.
Because I'm trying to think of horror movies or thrillers that I've enjoyed where you don't really get a payoff. Because it's happened before. I'm just drawing a blank.
It Follows would be one.
Really?
I felt no payoff on that movie at all. That's why I said no third act. I felt no payoff in that movie at all.
I think but what was the fact that it could be anybody. The old woman, the fucking tall dude. The tall dude was pretty fucking scary. That's something to see and be afraid of.
That's the same ending as Hellfest that you made fun of. Oh, it could be anybody. He has a family. Why is that better?
No, that's not. Wait a minute. That's not what I said about
close.
Hellfest.
No, you've mentioned that though. You said, "Oh, he's got a family." Ooh, it's the same thing. Who cares? Who cares? It could be anybody. Who cares? That's not scary to me.
No, it could be anybody that's chasing you.
No, I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying. That's not scary to me, though.
That's not what I said about the fact that he had a family. It wasn't that he could be anybody. It's just, oh, this guy's running around killing people and he goes home to his kid. That's what I meant by that.
Okay. Well,
Hellfest, there was no investment in it's just, oh, it's a dude in a mask. Now there's 7 dudes in a mask. Who's it going to be? And everything's done, and now he's putting his shit in the garage. He's got trinkets. Oh, look, he's got a little kid. Movie over. Wow. Thank you, Hellfest. I realize that they're kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum here, where you're getting all visuals and no real anything. Like, what's the investment in the guy?
No, nothing. No, I didn't have any investment in It Follows either, though. So, what can I say?
I guess that's fair. I understand it. I understand what you're saying.
So, I mean, that's just how my brain works when it comes to this stuff. Dino says the ending to It Follows was better than the ending to Halloween 2018. Dino, I might actually agree with you, but that kind of talk is going to have people coming at you, buddy. Not me, but
Dino's
some of the Hallophiles, man. I tell you what.
Dino is unafraid of his hate.
He doesn't give a shit. That's what's so funny.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's see.
Here, I'll jump on your side of the tracks here for a second.
Okay.
The fucking dude on top of the roof. Why? What the fuck? That broke everything about what that movie.
It Follows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would he suddenly stop just to have a cool looking shot?
Yeah, and why on the roof? How to get there? What? Nope. That was one thing. Just like, odd.
Odd, stupid. Like it's a lot of the same. I don't know. I'm gonna ruffle some real feathers here, but it's a lot of the same reasons I really didn't like The Strangers Prey at Night. A lot of dumb decisions, not great, not great, not a great movie. Period. So
it didn't make my top 10.
Yeah, I was not a fan of it. So I don't know. There's just some stuff that just doesn't get me the way it gets other people. I look at it, maybe I'm over analytical, or maybe I just am too set in the things that I like that I can't. But that, I don't even feel like that's the case, because some movies I would have thought I would have hated the new Suspiria, but I actually really enjoyed that movie. I was surprised at how much I liked it outside of the main old man storyline. I actually enjoyed that movie, so I can't tell from movie to movie what I'm going to like anymore.
How'd you feel about Mandy?
Honestly, it grew on me after watching it the first time. The first time I was like, really? This is what's spinning everyone's head around? Mm-hmm. But after thinking about it for a while and looking at it as like the way it was presented, it really is. There aren't many movies presented that way in such sort of a artistic fashion, and I was on board for that, but it was an hour of it was really slow. I liked the back half. Hour. Yeah, the first hour was really slow. The back half was a lot better for me, but I understood that they were trying to set up that investment. I just don't think that long was necessary to set up that investment. But overall, I thought it was a gorgeous movie with some interesting acting.
Sure,
I'll
sure.
say interesting acting.
Yeah, well made, really polished looking movie. I think Emily and I talked about that in the countdown. It's gorgeous. It's really well made. Thank you. Speak of the devil.
Hi, Emily.
Cecil says hi.
Hi, Cecil.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's great. There's stuff like there's certain elements, there's certain movies that I really enjoy the surround sound on. There's certain movies that I enjoy something about. Mandy looks great. If I were to ever watch it again, I'd probably mute the TV and listen to music or something. Like, I mean, it's
You
gorgeous.
could, yeah, you could.
The color's great. Like, but you know, I've got a fish tank color in there too. I don't have a fish tank, but I just wanted to use that joke.
No, I get it.
So like I you know, there's certain things that you're looking for from movie, and I'm curious to see. I want to watch Suspiria again because the movie was titled Suspiria, and I was like, all right, let's see all this crazy, you know, color and score and, you know, fucking visual everything, and it was just so not. It was so not 1977 Suspiria. It was so shocking for me.
I never saw the original, so I was.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have that baggage.
Oh. Okay.
So this was just look at it like, to me, this was just a new horror movie this year, and I get that it was based or inspired or whatever by the original, but I didn't have that baggage going into it, so I was able to enjoy it on a different level than everyone that had seen it before.
It's like so. Let's say they remake Top Gun, but take all the.
I'm listening.
You sold. So they
is Cruz back? Does he fly his own fighter jet? Considering how much he does his own stunts now.
It's not Tom Cruise. It's just a generic dude. The music is not even noticeable. There's no campiness to it. It's a very straightforward fucking story about a guy in the Air Force.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? And it's titled Top Gun.
I have to take the same opinion that I've taken on every remake, which is it's not erasing the original movie. Yeah, they're taking the name when maybe they shouldn't, but I have always said I would rather have a chance at another good entry in a series than shit on it without having seen it. Yeah, because if it's bad, I never have to watch it again. If it's good, now it's another one in the rotation.
All right, so let me pivot. Let me pivot the question. What would your expectations be going into something titled Top Gun? And you got.
Oh, I would expect something very near the original, and if I got something completely different, I would not be happy.
Okay, all right. So that's basically what I mean about Suspiria. So, like, I recognize that it could just be me having a bad taste in my mouth, and I do want to watch it again with a fresh, you know, expectation. But sometimes you that's the one thing I'll swear by. Expectations, really. It's hard. They ruin movies sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love expecting dog shit and being like completely surprised. Like that
doesn't happen that often, but
it doesn't. You're right.
That's why I've actually really enjoyed my trek through the 2018 horror movies, because I'm gonna have a much more well-rounded top 10 than I ever would have before, and a much more well-rounded bottom 6 as well. Like, the interesting thing is, everyone's worst of list, those movies are likely going to end up on my most aggressively mediocre list. Because there
aggressively mediocre.
Yeah. Like, all of those big budget ones are going under that list, because there are much worse horror movies that came out this year. Death House, Tales from the Hood 2, like a bunch of them were worse than those mediocre big budget movies. So I'm gonna talk about it as such, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's watching as much as I do. It does give you a different perspective, and it makes you appreciate things on a different sort of level. Like, a movie that I never would have probably watched if not for this 2018 list is Incident in a Ghostland. And that's going to make it probably in my top 5. I loved that movie, and it's one that not many people talk about, but everyone that I have seen talk about it say it's great. They're like, I love Ghostland. No one watches that. No one talks about that. And it's, so it's a nice thing when you're willing to try all these little ones. Again, it seemed to me like, didn't you guys say you saw 17 horror movies for
17.
this year? Yeah,
17 2018 releases.
So I watch your content. It's I've watched about 77, so it's I have a lot more to judge from, and it makes it easier for me to say that certain movies are bad and certain movies are deserving of more attention and things like that. So
yeah, I have a certain. First of all, Emily, she's still educating herself on horror. That's the premise of her channel. She really has some learning to do as far as the history of horror. So like this is the first time she's seen more than 2 new releases in a year. But on the flip side, I'm a bit snobby. Where like
get out of here
when it comes to like stuff that like gets a like fucking what was it, Death House, and like there was
horrible.
Yeah, there was. I had an email for an interview for I'm not naming any movies, but I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm again, this has nothing to do with any movie, any title I've named. I watched the trailer and I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not sorry. It could be something for me, whatever, but I'm not watching this for any fucking reason. So it's that's why I guess I would say I'm not completely horror.
No, that makes sense. And trust me, it's not fun having to watch some of these. Don't get me wrong.
Well, and that's the same thing for me. Like when I was going over my list for 2018, dude, I watched awful fucking comedies in 2018.
Oh, you poor guy. I hope you didn't have to watch Holmes and Watson.
No, is that still at a 0?
All I know is it's a train wreck. Excuse me, train wreck.
Last I heard, it was a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, which I mean doesn't say much, but fucking comedies this year there was bad ones.
I don't even watch them anymore. I watch the kids' movies, and that's about it as far as my comedy goes. Excuse me. All right. Well, we're approaching 3 hours, CP. I think that's probably going to be good.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me, though. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I don't know what the hell you're going to call this now, because it's definitely not whatever the original title was.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to think about that. I'll change it tomorrow. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining, though, and thank you guys for watching. We greatly appreciate you taking the time, especially if you've, for some reason, watched this entire thing. You're a champion.
You should have people who watch this in the future comment down below, like what elements of this discussion they would like to see a different version of or something.
Very good point.
Expanded.
Very good point. Yeah, so you guys, what of this did you like? Did you like the serious, deep, dark stuff? Did you like the more straight horror movie-based stuff towards the end? Did you like the YouTube stuff we were talking about with Lee and Cody? We'll likely do some kind of follow-up with them. Sounded like
you gotta get them, especially those two. Even if it's not me, and you have them too.
It'll be you, CP. It's okay.
I'm a nobody.
You've gotten yourself into my Scream stream, buddy. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. So hopefully we'll do more of these going forward. Might not be exactly the same sort of thing, but yeah. Thank you very much for enduring. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I've been CP.
That's right. His link is in the description box down below, so go subscribe to Wiliscredia, as Michael Rappaport. How did he put it? He said it.
What the fuck's a Wiliscredia?
Yeah, Wiliscredia. Let me ask, Was that because you know him, or because there's a site that celebrities you can pay to do little videos like that? Okay. All right. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Until next time, remember, stay scared.
Exactly.
Exactly.